Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today with episode 225 of the H.A.M Radio Podcast.
And it's me, Karak with ACG.
All of you.
And it is me, Mallory. I am currently the community manager at Discord.
Woo! When you were on last, you were working at SteelSeries. You gave me headphones. I still use the Fallout themed ones. The glory days.
Good.
Yeah, I still use the mouse pad. I have it over there. It's not with me right now. Yeah, you hooked me up a shit ton. So Mallory, it's good to have you back. You know,
it's good to be back.
I was
been a few years, so
yeah, I know. I was reminiscing a little bit. There was this episode you came on, and it was me, you, and I think Scribe Slendy, and we were just talking about like random topics. And I remember like at one point we were sharing stories, and it involved you and a rodent. Do you remember what I'm talking about? Okay.
Yes, I killed my hamster.
Wait, what? Accident. I don't remember that one. Hold on. No.
Well, you said rodent, so I think that's what we were talking about.
No, that's not what I was talking about.
Your face is red. I can see it.
It's not what I was talking about. I was like a poor hamster.
That's fine.
Oh, man. My face may be a little red because I did come in from a run half an hour ago. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 225 of the H.A.M Radio Podcast. We hope you enjoy your stay here. If you want to go ahead and help out the show, we have Patreons linked in the description down below. There's mine. There's Karak's. If you support mine for $1, you get early access to this show. $3 gets you into the Discord, where I've been hearing a lot of people say it's the best Discord around. Karak's got a bunch of shit going on, so Karak, if you want to go ahead, promo that.
No, we're good.
No,
I don't really have anything. Yeah, because I don't really have anything coming up right now. So
all right.
There's nothing that I can really promo.
Mallory, anything you want to pimp?
Myself? No.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow.
No, I'm kidding. I have nothing.
I'm ready.
I have nothing.
No.
Isn't that what you're supposed to do, though?
I've never seen Karak wear a short sleeve shirt. Holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think
Gotta show the guns.
I don't think I've ever seen your arms. You're either wearing a hoodie or you're wearing a long sleeve shirt. I never ever have seen your arms.
Occasionally I dress up for you.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Today I didn't. Today's short sleeve.
Wow. All right.
How many episodes did that take?
Over 100.
Yeah, like seriously, he stuck up his arms. I'm like, my God,
I'm always just in boxers, but other than that, I do occasionally.
I wouldn't blame you.
Yeah. Exactly. If you're doing, this is the second podcast. It's
dude,
like the ninth
the amount
hour I've been in front of the camera.
Videos I've recorded where I put on like a decent top, but I sit in this chair in my pajamas.
In pajamas.
Yeah. Every time, like most of my videos. That's all I'm doing.
That's the way to do it. Yeah, but you got some style in pajamas. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, I remember you and Lone used to look for that.
Oh yeah. There was a couple times where you got up to grab something from your background, and you'd leave, and Lone would look at my face, and I'll be like, "What the f is he wearing?"
Because you guys made fun of me because like there was one time I was an idiot. Without thinking, I stood up to close my blinds, and I was wearing like Ninja Turtle pants. Really colorful. Like,
why is that embarrassing?
Styling and profiling.
I don't know.
That's awesome.
Definitely. I don't know. A little old for that, maybe not.
No, never too old, never.
All right, thank you for the encouragement. Last week I was not here. I want to just thank Karak on air once more. Karak, you did an excellent job with Absi on the show,
thank you.
And everyone appreciated what you did. Myself especially, because I had to be with my grandmother. So I thank the audience for understanding. I'm sure I'm not asking much of you all to understand that, but. Everything's good now, and we appreciate you all. And now let's get into the news. After 4 minutes. We're going to start off with the Outer Worlds extended thoughts. I beat it. Karak beat it. Mallory, you started today, yes?
I started it last night, so I'm approximately only 2 hours in.
Oh, gotcha.
I spoke with water in my mouth. Okay, let's start off with you then. How are you feeling about this game? Because I know you love New Vegas.
I love New Vegas. I was super excited for this game, although I think I've learned over the years to keep my expectations not low, but, anywhere from like the low to mid-range. Thank you. Reasonable. That's the correct answer. But when I started playing yesterday, I felt a lot of feelings. I felt a lot of BioShock. I felt a lot of Fallout New Vegas. I felt a lot of like steampunk vibes. I don't know. I loved it. I loved the introduction. It reminded me a lot of Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. So I immediately fell in love, and I have like in-laws coming in, and I have all this stuff going on in my life, and I'm like trying to find time to play it. And I kind of just want to like be by myself and play it, but that's what I've been doing all morning. So it's been pretty great.
Awesome. Karak, I know you put out a review. You said it was absolutely a buy. Do you want to give us a general synopsis, and then we'll get into the more nitty gritty?
Yeah, it's just I think one of the best parts of it is the design is sort of perfect right now. It's not 60 hours, it's not 90 like Disco Elysium, which is what I came off of to review. And that game is like nut bar. And to come into this, it was nice
what'd
to
you call it?
Nut bar.
Nut bar?
Dude, I told you, Disco Elysium is the weirdest game I've ever played in my life. Like, it's insane, and the writing's insane. I didn't know how Obsidian would hold up because I would say it's the best writing I've ever played in a game is Disco. So to come into this, I was a little nervous that the writing wouldn't hold up, but it held up, and I like the way it was paced. It's sort of parsed out 25 to 45 hours depending on how long you want to spend on it.
Okay, so I just want to confirm to everyone, I just looked it up. Nut bar is an actual word. It is a noun.
It is.
I've never heard that word before. Nut bar is an informal way of saying a foolish or eccentric person. It's also an item of snack food in the shape of a flattish rectangular block.
They're terrible. Don't ever eat the food. Don't ever eat the food. They're terrible. Just use the word.
Sorry, I don't want to drag you off topic there. No,
it's all right. It's just
wow.
It was just well paced out, and right now we're looking at games where everybody's doing that weird dance where they're like, game's got to be 60 hours, which is bullshit. That's not true.
Yeah,
and
I completely agree.
So a game like this where you can do what you want, you can extend it if you want, or golden path it if you want, and it held up throughout the entire thing, which was sort of surprising for me because most games, you'll get three-fourths of the way through and there's a down point or something like that. But the way they put it together just felt just perfect. And it was nice from start to finish without any real dips in quality or just that moment where you're all, I got to do another quest. There was one quest that was collect things in the entire game.
I know, right?
I thought was awesome.
It was kind of crazy when I started doing side quests, and then the first, I put this in quotes, side quest I got was actually what the game labels a task, like which are more of those, I guess, miscellaneous quests you can do. But that one miscellaneous quest really kind of solidified the universe for me. It was about the cemetery feast. This is really early, by the way, Mallory.
Yeah,
I think you may have done it. It's like right in front of Edgewater. Yeah. That one like really sold me on the whole universe. I said it in my review. I was just like, wow, it's really fucked up here. Like, they're collecting fees from the dead, man. And they start talking about someone who killed themselves, and they're like, oh yeah, they're like, because I'm relative, and they're like, relative, like, oh, this is like a family member you lost? And he's like, no, I was like the last relative person in the area to find the body, so I have to pay the fees for them being dead. And I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to say it's funny, it's just like, it's so messed up, it's funny. And it takes a dark brain to think up something like that. What I found as I completed the game, though, while I just kept looking back and forth between New Vegas, this, KOTOR 2, I found myself when it came to like the universe, the characters, and the plot like itself, I cared more than I did with New Vegas. Like, I thought New Vegas was cool because there was a lot of choices and a lot of paths, and it's really awesome how everything plays out. But I never had like a deep investment in its factions, I guess.
Right.
I thought they were a little too like, NCR's obvious. No one's ever going to realistically pick the Legion. And so Mr. House also became an obvious choice. I don't know. I felt like it was too simple where the Outer Worlds demanded a little more thought and intrigue. So I found myself like a lot more invested just from a story front. That doesn't mean like it's better than, it's just and it could be I'm honeymooning, but I found myself a lot more engaged throughout the whole story, just like you said, Karak. We could start off by talking about like favorite moments, throughout our experiences. Mallory, if you want to start, is there anything that immediately comes to mind for you?
I mean, I just had to make the first major choice in the entire game, which is reroute power to Edgewater or to the botanical labs. So I actually paused the game for like 15 minutes.
Oh my God.
And I was messaging all of my friends. I'm like, what do I do? I don't want to make this decision. Is there any other way out of this? Like, do I have to force myself to make this decision? And I did. So, and it was terrible. But
yeah, I don't mean to cut you off, but I was looking through like the hidden trophies after I beat the game. I was like, what else did I miss? And there was another third option for Edgewater that I had no idea about. I don't even know where you discover it or start it, but it was, based off the description, I'll just say it was pretty fucking terrible. Terrible in like a inhumane way. Sorry, keep going on, Mallory. Didn't mean to cut you off.
Okay. Then knowing the way that I play, I would have not done that third option then.
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't have chosen that. So, I chose to redirect everything to Edgewater, and I met up with Adelaine afterwards, and she was upset. And I'm like, but you're so nice. I didn't want to make you upset. That's just how I like to play RPGs in general. I like to be a super charismatic folk, and so, and I don't want to upset anybody ever. I want to make everybody happy, which is never possible. It's never possible. But yeah, I think that was probably some of the most memorable parts so far.
Yeah, I liked it because it felt like you were losing no matter what you did. Like there was always going to be a repercussion. Karak, did you have like a specific moment throughout the game?
So to remove spoilers, I will say that strangely enough, the graveyard mission, one of the first missions, I purposely skipped until the end of the game. And what's interesting about that is if you play the rest of the game and you meet the other groups and you see what they do and how they treat people and the other planets, and then you come back and do that mission, I thought it added even more to that than doing it right away. Doing it right away is cool because I did it right away in the second, but there's something about understanding how all the groups work and then going back and doing those decisions and seeing like how that makes you feel. I would also say I rerouted it to Edgewater, and then I killed everybody, and I killed like pretty much everybody in that.
You didn't even have to, bro. They could have just walked away.
Oh no, I know.
Wow.
I know. But what was the best part of that game isn't one particular thing. It's that they do allow you to kill everybody, which I think is cool. Not because I want to. I just think that's cool that there's the freedom. And to me, there was the ability to not only do the narrative choices, but because of being able to kill everybody, there's always the last choice, which is being able to kill them, the actual activity of doing something. And a lot of games won't let you do that. They have the character little check in their editor that says this person is a key character, you can't kill them. And they'll come back alive, they'll lay down, and you're like, the dude's not dead. Yeah. And so what it did for me was always felt like there was a fourth choice in most things, if there were three or two choices. And admittedly, I took that choice quite often just to see what would happen, because I like messing around with the game and seeing how are they going to do quests if this person's not there anymore. And
did you see it change a lot? Because I didn't kill that much.
I did take out a couple people who had quest lines, and I would say it's handled pretty well. There's the one thing I had a problem with in this game is that it does have the same 5 rednecks in a town somehow running the entire economy, which is like Whiterun in Skyrim, where it's like 5 people with the same $5, and you're supposed to believe the entire town runs on just that $5, like the same guys trading the money back and forth. There's not enough people. So when I did that, I actually felt like it made more sense that there were less people in the town, because I did kill a couple people. And it actually worked for me in a weird way, because that does push me out of a game. I've talked about it before. Like in any game where it's supposed to be a big world and you walk into a town and there's 4 people running everything and you're like, this doesn't feel right. So I just like those choices. I thought it was done really well. And I didn't go homicidal on everybody. I did test it, though, because they made a big point out of it. And when they make a point out of it, I want to see if they're lying. Like, are they telling the truth? Can you kill everybody? And at least so far that I've seen, you absolutely can. And the game takes it into account. It did take it into account with narrative. It took it into account with not only narrative in this quest line, but also other characters noticing it and saying stuff about them missing, which I thought was cool. Very well done.
Neat. Mine was, and I'll keep it spoiler free as well. Mine was, you were on a planet. I'm not going to name names or anything. There are multiple factions. There is an issue between said factions. There are a lot of options. And there is a negotiation that you can essentially handle yourself between these multiple factions. And there are choices within things you can do for their faction quests that change who leads the faction, which changes how the negotiations are handled, which then changes relationships, which also changes dialogue, which changes choices, and I was like, holy crap, man. Like, the amount of, like, when they presented, like, okay, there's, you know, you have all these, like, branches, and then they lead to this point here. I was like, how many ways could it go? Especially because this is one of the major choices in the game that really is noticed in the ending. And I just found it super, super impactful. Those who have played the game and get to this point will know exactly what I'm talking about, even though by the time this podcast goes live to, our patrons are going to only have the game for about 24 hours max. But when it goes live to everyone else, it'll be out for 2 days. So maybe some people will be just getting there. But yeah, I'm just saying that was a spectacular part that I just adored. I thought it was crazy how many options were there, how much Obsidian really accounted for. And it didn't have to be like, oh, I'm going to negotiate for peace. It's like, I'm going to get everyone important together and like order 66 these guys. I'm just going to take them all out now. And I thought that was really, really, really neat. So easily my favorite moment in the game. Is there anything here that maybe we're not liking though? A little flaw we can pick out, or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. Sure, why not?
Who wants to start? Mallory, if you've got any.
You go first.
I absolutely do not agree with the attribute temperament affecting your regeneration of health. Made no sense. It was in your social section. That made it very difficult to make a particular character I wanted to make, which was somebody that was really dumb and also not very strong. One of the problems with creating a character in that game is those attributes, if you look closely, they affect other skills. And it was hard to make a really dumb character because, strangely enough, one of the charisma skills affects engineering. So I made a really dumb, not very perceptible person, but their engineering was high. And it didn't make any sense to me. I wanted somebody who was like a redneck out there, like the dumb character that we've talked about in other Obsidian games. Mm-hmm. And that kind of character stuff, if you look at the attributes, and I've talked about this on Twitter even, is that it really, a lot of those attributes and their skill overlaps don't make a lot of sense. And they almost feel like they tried to change the word, and that temperament as a word doesn't really fit. And there was a couple issues there, in particular with attributes and how they affected skills.
Do you think they made the choice for temperament to have that debuff, we'll call it, because it was probably the easiest thing to do? Like, oh, they'll just cut out health regen. You know, let's say temperament would most likely impact something in conversation. Do you think they had the time to, for example, if your temperament's low, you have like a new option just called asshole that you can just select in certain, do you think that may have been just a hair too much for them?
It probably was, and I also believe that they probably didn't want to look like Dungeons and Dragons. They didn't want attributes that looked identical to all the games people are playing. They wanted different wording, and that different wording just didn't really necessarily...
I get what you're saying.
Exactly work with some of the skills. And it's a small nitpick, but for people creating characters, I've now started to see more people who are creating characters of a particular type going, it's actually difficult for me to make exactly what I want because the attributes overlapping on those skills it's hard for me to role play a person who, like, let's say is really dumb, isn't book smart, isn't anything, but suddenly for some reason, because you have to spend those points. That's one of the problems with the attribute system. At least I wasn't able to waste those attribute points and go to the skill section when I was creating a character. I had to spend them. And by having to spend them, there was always one skill that was higher than I wanted it to be. I would have liked to have had a really dumb character and just see how that worked out. And there was always something that they knew. So I don't know why they did it. It's not bad. It's just something that I noticed when I was making the character. And I was like, well,
What skills were you like focusing on as you played the game? Because I was more like a medical engineer. Oh, you did leadership. Interesting.
Yeah, because they had that's one of the things Obsidian nailed, is that every 20 points you get those skills. But one of the things that they did was they made sure that the actual powerful skills were the first ones to be unlocked. So you didn't have to raise a skill up to 100 to, have your partner do a cool move. That was 20. And to me, I noticed there was only one skill where that wasn't actually that way, and they had one later. It was the hack one for hacking auto turrets. That was like at 80, which was pretty high. So I loved to do the leadership. It worked well in conversations, but also I liked the companions in this game. So it was fun to be able to like have a high score in that.
Nice. Mallory, what kind of character are you building? Is there anything that's come to mind yet that maybe you are not a fan of so far?
I mean, I think it's a little too early to say. I think I'm only 2 hours in, so
Right, yeah.
I think I'm trying. I think I'm trying to like let it all sink in and check it out a little bit. I know. There's a lot of story within the first few hours of the game, so. But I am building my character the way I always build characters, which I feel like I should be inspired to kind of try something different in the future. I really think it would be fun to make a dumbass character and just play that. But I've been putting most of my points within dialogue, leadership, and tech. Those are the three that I'm pretty much dumping most of my points in. I don't like to fight anybody if I don't have to. Obviously, you have to, but I try to avoid it at all costs. So that's the character I'm building up.
For the most part? Has that worked out to be able to talk yourself out of most battles? Because it seemed like you were able to, at least when I played.
Yeah, I think so far. But I mean, there's still combat here and there, so it doesn't get you really out of that. But yeah, if I can avoid it, I'm gonna try.
Yeah, most times you can. There's like one point pretty early on where you're supposed to get into a fight, but if your speech skills are high enough, you can just be like, hey, I'm just going to go by here if you don't mind. And he's like an idiot, so he just kind of buys into it. I like how the game manages to have this silliness to it without breaking the fourth wall. I really expected it to do that at some point, like to kind of do a Fallout 2 and talk to the person playing the game. And I was really happy they didn't, because it felt like such a believable universe in this really odd way. But for me, my gripe with the game, and my viewers are going to be fucking sick of hearing it because I mentioned it like in my review, in a separate video, and I'm mentioning it again, but the combat AI was just, it's ass. I think it's so bad. Like, there were so many times I was walking around the game and like I'd shoot someone in the head. I'm like, all right, he's dead. And I'd like turn a corner, his friend's just standing there, just like arms folded. I'm like, how the hell do you not know I just took your friend out? Like, I just shot a plasma rifle and turned your friend into ash, and you're telling me you didn't hear that. So that's been the biggest gripe for me, because early on the combat's like a little more narrow. Like, it's in these tiny pockets, and there's like 4 enemies. You take them out really quickly. It's really easy. And then when you hit Monarch, things just kind of open up. Like, there's a little more verticality. There's different enemy types. They send like double the amount of enemies you're usually facing, which fits the theme of the planet. Monarch's like terrible. So it really works in that way, but I just view it as like, okay, if I go back again, is this slow pace early on with this bad combat AI gonna hurt the game in the terms of like legacy? So it's something I'd like to see them address, just because the amount of like people I stealthed without using stealth weapons, it was really bad. But
you know what's? It's funny you bring that up though, Maddie. I just replayed a bit of KOTOR 1 and 2 for a video, and they have pretty spectacularly poor AI when it comes to awareness too. And I mentioned it in my review that like you're talking to a dude in Outer Worlds who's standing on the head of his best friend that I killed, and he's just like, so anyway, nothing happens here, and I'm like, dude, you're standing on the guy I just killed. Like, isn't that at least in some way riveting to you? It's like so they don't notice those kind of things, but I would agree with you, but I don't know, man. It was noticeable, but I guess it also depends on if you stealth it or not. So I did go in most of the time with guns, so there wasn't a lot of stealth on my part, unless I absolutely needed
that's the thing. I didn't try
to stealth.
I
guess it depends.
I wouldn't even use the sneak button. I just shoot someone from like, I'd be on a roof and I like
just
shoot them in the
see
head,
them react.
and then I drop off the roof and like turn to my right, and someone's just standing there, like not even far away. They're just standing there. I'm like, shouldn't you be engaging with me? I just shot your friend. And, I guess it's better than overly reactive charging constantly Far Cry AI, where it's like, oh my god, just
Red Dead 2.
Yeah,
where you bump a horse into a dude and everybody hates you in town.
Yeah, they're like, hey, you got to leave town.
That's terrible.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. So I'm a little happy that it's not like that, but it's to the other extreme so much that it's kind of gotten annoying for me. But like I mentioned in my review, like the dialogue conversations do so much. I wouldn't even say carrying, because it's not like the other parts of the game are bad. It's just like it's noticeably weaker, but it makes it easier to forgive for me. One thing I've been sort of spinning my wheels on, and I know this may be early for you, Mallory, so if there's nothing you have to add to it, I totally understand. But like post-launch support is something I've been curious about, because I think this game is going to do better than Obsidian really expected. They seemed kind of apprehensive, as someone who's just covered the game since it first got revealed. Even when it was a trademark, for God's sakes. As it got closer, they were like very much emphasizing, hey, this is shorter. This is not like your 60-hour open world adventure. It's more like KOTOR 2. They got in bed with Epic, the whole Microsoft deal. It's crazy because the game is so good that you saw a lot of like safety nets being set up underneath the game. I think it's going to do a lot better than they expected. And so I started thinking, like, will they bounce out a patch quicker than we expect outside of the day one patch they did? Are they already looking like, hey, let's add a new planet for DLC and expand the game? Like, I'm really curious how they're going to approach this game's life, or are they just going to leave it and just create a series with Microsoft now? Like, that's the stuff I'm wondering about, because there's definitely going to be a lot of players through Game Pass, and I think sales are also going to be there. I'm just wondering how they're going to handle that post-launch. It's something I've been rattling my brain about. Do you guys have any ideas?
I will just say that I watched an interview they did, and I was going to say it was Game Informer, but it wasn't. I can't remember who it was, but they asked him about that, and they did indicate that there are those hidden spots that you find in the game already. There's a couple missions that'll take you to places somebody else may not see if they don't follow those missions, is pretty much what they're thinking for DLC. So I would assume you will just get a job, from, like, they'll just do what they do, where, like, somebody walks up to you and they're like, hello, I have a note for you, and you read it.
Yeah.
And, it's like, go to this place, and you go, and the person you've dealt with before is like, I have a new mission for you. And it'll most likely be that way. And I would be fine with that.
It's funny you mentioned that.
That works.
There were 2 planets I missed by the end of my playthrough that I didn't see at all.
Which ones? Oh, no.
Yeah, I don't want to say because of Mallory, but and our listeners, of course. but no, you're fine.
No, we probably wouldn't say it, to be honest, in the podcast.
Yeah.
But there were 2 I didn't even get on, and I was like, all right, cool. Like, I like that. I like that I actually missed shit. I mean, because the game's short in a sense, like, it's 30 hours. That's how long it took me, and I did like all the side quests I could do. I guess not all of them, but pretty much everything. I did all the companion quests. I did every task. I talked to everyone. I exhausted all the conversation options. So I must have missed someone somewhere, but it's like compact enough where I'm like, okay, you know what? I could see myself going back and hopping right in again, especially because there's like Supernova, then there's like the stupid playthrough, there's Evil. I want to get all the trophies. So like, oh God, I can see myself playing this game a disgusting amount, which is why I've already like hopped into where this game can do updates, because I noticed like, oh, there isn't a roadmap. Like, every game does a roadmap, right?
Right.
At least nowadays. And I'm not saying it has to be that standard. I really would rather it not be. But I think that's, once again, kind of solidifying like their apprehension, because they didn't like post anything about, here's what we're doing after launch. Here's our plans. They were just like, let's see how it does. So
I think it would be silly if there was no DLC content or other follow-up games to this series. Like, it seems to be really popular. Even from what I'm seeing. So I think it would just be silly. I would be shocked, actually.
Yeah.
So
I think there will be other games. The patches, and I'm probably overthinking it, the DLC. I'm definitely overthinking it. I tend to do that sometimes. Oh, boy.
Well, I mean, technically, you could also just have, if you did a sequel, you could just have another person from The Hope as well, and, roll them out as a new character. So there's definitely a lot that they could do, yeah. Yeah, and even have your old save game impact the game world, which would be cool. Like, who did you put in charge where, and then you play that second game, because we've seen that occasionally happen in some games where they've taken old save game data and adjusted it for your your
that'd be
game.
Awesome.
So yeah, it would be.
I feel like we haven't seen a game like that in forever, where it's just like you load up and they're like, do you want to like fill out a survey, a survey of like
Mass
the previous...
Effect 1, 2, and 3 did it. That was the last titles I remember.
Yeah, those games are known for that, the carryover. So, man, I hope they do that. That'd be cool.
So you're basically telling me that you're going to replay the game like 5 to 10 times, at least.
I mean, like, part of it's I'm very excited about the game, right? So, but I could see myself just over time, right? Like, I've played New Vegas and Fallout 3, and even Fallout 4 a ton of times, partially because like I have like content investment, but like, New Vegas was like a stream game for me that I just had like a new playthrough every time. And then Fallout 3, I beat so many times, I was like, all right, I'm not going to do like a story-focused playthrough. I'm going to challenge myself. So I remember with Fallout 3, I did 100% unarmed on the hardest difficulty. No odds, and it was awful. But I did it. And so like I could just see like New Vegas, or not New Vegas, that's a good mistake to make, but with the Outer Worlds, like with the skill tiers, like Karak mentioned, like hacking. Imagine if you could just try to beat the game through only hacking these robots and like using them. I thought that would be interesting. So you could do little challenge runs with it. I think the game is going to build off of that type of stuff too, at least in our little sphere here. So I could definitely see myself playing the game a lot, but I know I have a particular vested interest in it compared to other people. But I know how you play, and I think I could see you just kind of like going how you did with New Vegas. It just has that vibe to it, where as you play it, you go, I need to know what happens on the other end here. If you have the heart to, to do that, to be an evil person, maybe.
What about you, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Will I replay it?
Yeah, I mean, you finished the game, right?
Yeah, I replayed it for the to check the difficulties. Supernova's a bitch, by the way. I'm not.
I didn't expect it to be fun.
I sort of want them to be fun, even if they're on the hardest difficulty. Like I'm not even saying it wasn't fun. It was very hard.
The fun is in the salt.
I was having some, and the fast travel and stuff being restricted. I was like, oh, I just want to go. I just want to go home. So I probably won't replay it for a while just because I review all the time. But it's certainly something I could see replaying easier than almost all other games. I think Disco Elysium's probably the only other game I would want to replay more quickly. Outer Worlds doesn't have as much narrative as Disco, which is what I like. So, and Nishi and all that stuff that's in Disco is really interesting to me. But I think when it comes down to it, Outer Worlds, the best part is it's not long. So at 25 or 35 hours, if you want to replay it, it is not the investment that, for example, Disco would be, or it's not the investment that even maybe some of the Fallout games would be, or even Skyrim.
Yeah,
so
Fallout's way longer.
Yeah, so to me, that actually makes it higher just by the sheer fact that I could jump in and try some stuff out without feeling that grind of like, I need to rush through it, or I can't jump into it because I don't have enough time. I do like. I think the length is awesome. Like, and I know some people are gonna say it's short, whatever. I don't think it is. I think it is a great example of how you can put together something and not overstay your welcome, which is what a lot of RPGs do.
Oh God, yeah, that's perfectly put, man. That is perfectly put. There, a lot of RPGs just hang around for far too long, and it's like, all right, I've enjoyed this, but like your time is up, and they don't move on. Any final thoughts before we move on to another topic?
I'm just excited to play many, 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 many hours of it, and probably replay it. So I'm feeling it. So I'm excited.
Awesome, Karak?
I'm really happy they chose the color palette they did. It feels completely different than like if it was a Fallout or whatever. The browns and greens of Fallout. You're just like, oh.
How would you define the art style for this game? Because that's what I had trouble with. Because it's like,
I just said Bob Ross on a big DMT trip.
Wow.
Especially when you go later and you start seeing you're just like, damn, this is colorful. I just like that. And No Man's Sky is another one I compared it to. Sean is probably looking at that game going, damn it, because there is a lot of properly done No Man's Sky color work, and even the flora and fauna.
I'm so happy
has a lot of look.
Despite all the color, that they didn't like slam in like God rays and bloom. They're just like,
they didn't at all.
I was just like,
they didn't at all. They did some smoke on some weapons and stuff, and some cool particle effects. They certainly like their fire and particle effects, but overall, it was not overdone. It's just, I really liked the art style, and I wouldn't know how to describe it either. It's just cartoony,
That's what I said.
I think I said it's like Fallout at 100% saturation.
I said like when I first looked at it, I'm like BioShock, and then like you get close up to the characters and like, wait, you look real, and then like you pull out, and I'm like. And then I'm walking in the open world, and it feels like it's more pastel, and I'm like, what? I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at, but I like it.
Remember the first time you saw Dishonored, and they did the same thing? And, I'm not a huge fan of Dishonored, but they slightly altered their style of their faces. That's the way I feel. Not that Outer Worlds looks like it, but they did the same thing. They tweaked everything a little bit. And kudos to them, because most of the characters look good. I was actually really surprised. Most of the characters in Outer Worlds looked good. There was a couple that didn't, but that's what I was actually worried about, is we were going to go in, it was going to be Oblivion, pasty faced, vampires.
Yeah, they were a lot more animated than I thought.
Oh yeah,
it wasn't like, oh my god, this is incredible, but it was way better, especially for a game with so much dialogue. I was like, oh, they're definitely gonna like shortchange the animations. I'm like, I'm just expecting that, and I'm just happy because a lot of people were like, oh man, they're charging $60, yet kind of marketing this as more of a AA game, but it's got a lot of qualities that many $60 games do not have.
Yeah, definitely.
So, good on them. All right, our next topic is on the other end of the spectrum, I hate to report. We're going to be talking about Fallout first. So, I'm sure everyone who's listening has already heard about this, so I'm going to try to keep it short in the terms of a description. Bethesda announced a Fallout 76 subscription service called Fallout First. It comes with Private World Scrap Box, Survival Tent, emotes, and you get 1650 items a month. It's priced at $13 a month or $100 a year. Two of those things I mentioned, the scrap box and the survival tent, are gameplay mechanics. Important gameplay mechanics in that, especially the scrap box, which has unlimited storage for your junk, which has been a long-term complaint for this game since it actually first came out. When it first released, we had 400 pounds of like scrap storage or whatever, and Bethesda said that they could only increase it in small increments over time because they had to account for everybody's like inventory and whatnot. And I guess they found a way to make it unlimited for the scrap and the junk that you can store. And, well, only if you pay you can access that. And now reports are coming in that people are permanently losing the junk put into the scrap box.
Oh, no.
And Bethesda responded at first saying it's just a UI bug. Then someone posted a very detailed Reddit post of like them testing what's happening, which makes their game crash with the scrap box. And then Bethesda posted another update saying it turns out some people are actually losing all their stuff. And so that's currently where it's at now.
You forgot an important item in the membership benefits package. The Ranger armor outfit.
Oh, yes.
Can't forget that.
Thank you. Yes. Oh, man, that was the thing that fired me up the most. All right. I've talked about this a shit ton on my channel. So you two can just take it away. Whoever wants to go first. I've yelled about it. I've been calm about it. I just, I've said my piece. So this is all you guys.
Go for it. Mallard can go first.
I'm definitely a subscriber for sure. I subscribed immediately, and I've never been happier. So this is great. No, I'm kidding. Okay. I'm totally kidding. No, I'm not surprised anymore, to be completely honest with you. I think after Bethesda launched Fallout 76 and the PR nightmare they had with that, this is just like them trying to get some more money. And I don't think, I think if they really listen to the community and the player base, things like this wouldn't happen. But I get it. I get they have to make money. Every business does. But this just makes me even more upset towards Bethesda. And I lose a lot of hope with them quite a bit. So I don't know. But maybe I'm being dramatic. I state my opinions on Twitter, and people are kind of like, I have a lot of folks that follow me that are big fans of the Fallout franchise. So I think, people get hurt. But
same.
I feel like the majority of the community is just like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, Karak, any thoughts before we cut deeper here?
I don't like Bethesda, man. I sense horse armor on the 360. They're full of shit.
Mallory, when you were last on the show, I'm sorry, but when you were last on the show, we were hyped about Bethesda. How scary is that? And now look where we are.
We were like so innocent, Maddie. We were so innocent.
I know.
That was you know what? I think it was right before Fallout 4 came out. It was either like right after or right before.
It was within that period of time.
I felt so differently about them. And then after Fallout 4 came out, like maybe a year or so after, I was just like, wow, I was really disappointed in Fallout 4. Like it was one of those, I think I was in denial for a little bit, and then I came to accept it. And then Fallout 76 came out, and then I was like, what the fuck is this? And it just keeps like spiraling out of control. I don't know how they'll be able to redeem it for a fan like me. I feel like I'm a core fan, but I don't know. Maybe not, I understand that they've got to change things up. I get it, but this ain't for me. You know what I mean? It's not
for
me,
anybody.
so.
Eric, sorry, I cut you off, man. The thought hit me. What were you saying? You didn't like Bethesda?
Since Horse Armor, they've always seemed to me like they were leading the charge on screwing people over, and it's been workshop issues, and it's been the paid mods issues, and it's. I like their developers. There's a lot of great games there, but overall I'm just done with them. Like I don't even anything they do now doesn't really register with me as anything other than expected. And there isn't a big surprise if they do a good game. That's great, but I don't get too invested anymore. I don't think that how they're being run is really conducive to the current consumer market, which has a tendency to alert everybody of issues as quickly as possible. And yes, overreact. But at the same time, stuff like this where it's not overreacting, it's like you have a legitimate issue. And when you look at the pricing for this sub and how poor it is and what you get and the issues, to me, it really does feel like they are at a point to where they would like to cut and run. And that there's not a lot they can do. So they delay Wastelanders. And they do this, which feels so piecemeal. If you look at what they've offered and you look at what you get, and now they're saying that those servers might not even be real private servers. They might be like, because people are saying that when you go into them, there's NPCs that are already dead and all, which might be a copied old server. You know, it's not a full new fresh server. There's so many issues here that show a really shortchanged product for consumers, and I've always felt that way towards Bethesda. You've seen me in your Discord. You know, I know that I get a little bit annoyed when I see the people just continually suckling from the hind tit of gaming and allowing it. And it's like at some time you really do have to put your foot down and be like, dude, come on, we're done. They need a restructure of some kind. Because I know the developers, I can tell you right now, there's probably not a single developer there who's like, this is a fucking great idea. This is awesome.
That's why I mentioned it in my video yesterday. I was just like, I feel bad for anyone who works there now, because like even the community managers are probably like, fuck, like we're just working here, man.
And I worked at a place that had a major PR snafu, or 50, and I can tell you there's a bitter taste that comes in your mouth when you wake up and read news like that. It's horrendous. And having worked at a business and seen the look on somebody's face when something like that happens, and you both look at each other and you're like, oh, are you kidding me? And what sucks is it also affects everybody else, not just Fallout 76 devs. It all, everybody else has to deal with it because they're under that umbrella of a company. Microsoft's had to deal with it. Sony's had to deal with it. Nintendo, it's, anybody working at those has to deal with it in some way, and that sucks. But doesn't surprise me.
Want to hear something funny?
Yes.
Is there something funny about this?
This is hilarious, actually. I'm sorry, you're right. So within 24 hours of this announcement, they announced the next day that they acquired Alpha Dog Studios. Do you know what they do?
Yeah, I saw that.
At Alpha Dog?
Oh, I didn't see that.
Monetization, Android and iOS games.
Yes.
Yeah.
They announced a new mobile studio acquisition. I was like, holy fuck. They remind me so much of Konami, and I'm like, that's so bad. That's so bad. I could see it now. A Fallout pachinko machine's gonna fucking pop up in Japan. It's gonna be I can
spin it around.
It would be so popular there, though. It really would.
They'll make their money, but it'll kill me.
If you spin it around, then what do we decide? What's the way to fix it? So instead of like we all know there's an issue, like what are our opinions of how do you fix it? Like how do you fix Fallout 76
I think, I don't know. I don't know what's going on internally over there. I'm guessing like leadership probably makes a lot of decisions, and that folks that are, below that probably have a better idea of how the community feels and what they want, and they probably fight hard for those things. I guarantee it. I do know what that's like. But who knows?
Mm-hmm.
I think there's just got to be a shakeup that happens internally, and they got to figure out, how do we make our fans happy again, and what does that mean?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, because like I can't specify, but I've heard like of the internal back and forths for that game, Fallout 76, and yeah, it's definitely one of those situations where like one set of people wants one thing, another set wants another, and I don't think these two extremes can just set on a a common ground. And in terms of like fixing it, I don't think. I think they just had their orders mixed up, right? Like, you don't want to delay the thing that can really help 76 and bring it to an area where it helps it out. It's good. Like, I saw it and I was like, good. All right, you guys clearly got the picture when the game launched. You know, especially when they've rushed out so many patches. I'm like, they get it. Like, they gotta put something good out for this, because it's kind of like the last straw. And I'm like, okay, it's still free. Okay, they're changing the Atomic Shop a little bit where they're gonna add more utility items. Yeah. I'm like, all right. You know, they're clearly tied up for money. But if you're going to do a sub thing, do it after people are talking positively about your game. Like, that's just, I feel like that's like a business 101. Like, just so that it's a little more of a defense. Like, oh, we've kind of fixed it. We got things rolling, and now you can pay more for something you like. Where Fallout 76 is still in kind of a rough place. I mean, I played it for a video about a week and a half ago, and I went to just get my own gameplay. And I was still, like, skipping around on the server, and I'm like, dude, this game's over a year old, and I'm still hopping around here dropping frames. And I mean, granted, I'm playing on a base PS4. I can hear about that all day. But the fact that it can't run at least a stable 30 FPS, I just, you know, those issues become so exaggerated. Not exaggerated, but extreme, rather, when when so much other shit is happening. It's like, normally I can just look past that. I'm not big on tech. I don't care. But when your game's still dropping frames this long after the fact, and you've rushed so much shit out the door, and then you do this, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna hyper focus on something like that. But ultimately, I think they didn't put everything out in the right order. If you're gonna do this, wait till after Wastelanders. You know, this game's not making a lot of money as it is. Giving it a PR nightmare is not gonna help it. You know, it's not like the whole all bad press or all press is good press mentality. Like, I don't think it works in games like that, at least in my opinion. I've just said for a while now, I'd love to see like the data for Fallout 76, because this is a game that, like, you know, Bethesda's like, we're reading our feedback, we're seeing data. I'm like, like, out of like a couple of thousand people, who the fuck is still playing this? You know, like, I don't. I'm sure there's a substantial more interest there than I'm actually hitting on, but I don't know.
It reminds me of you and I've talked about YouTube. YouTube will say, we talk to YouTubers who've said that seeing your real-time subscription counts is so stressful that they just want to end their lives. They can't deal with the stress. So you need to stop with giving people information. And that's sort of what Bethesda does, is they say, we talk to somebody. They tell you that they speak on your behalf. Yeah, they speak on your behalf. And they speak on, and let's be honest, you can have and I've seen this happen at a company where you will have an ex or a current employee who used to do job A, and you ask them, and then you say, we talked to a person who does this. You're lying, but you're actually still telling the truth. And so who knows if they have a YouTuber working with, or not a YouTuber, but somebody who played Fallout 76 working with them. It's like, yeah, that's a good idea. But also what they haven't done is they haven't done anything to restore confidence. So most big businesses, when they have a snafu like this, you'll see a CEO get fired. Or you'll say, and that, I'm not saying that's right. In fact, you've heard me fight against it all the time. I don't think you fire the people with experience to restore confidence. It's a 1980s business decision. That's not what we do, and it's not what we should be doing. But they haven't done any big restoration of confidence, which is surprising to me. For example, a huge document that's like from Todd or something that's like, listen, we're going to stop everything. And there's only two games that really are in Fallout 76's boat, and that's Fallout 76 and Anthem. Both of these games have sort of, they're just doing little bits. It's little bits. And what happens is there's no restoring of confidence, and then what ends up being impacted. I don't care about Fallout 76. I don't care if it's impacted. What I'm worried about is their next game. Right. And until they restore confidence, their next game is immediately in question. And not in question in a small amount or an outrage amount like you and I've talked about, like a clickbait video. I'm talking about like truly deep down people saying like they are now in question. And it's good to be questioning for sure, but the company could certainly meet you halfway and give you some data about the true things they're doing. And this, I talked to Joe who says Sally's happy. You're just like, that's not the same thing. They need some actual plans in place, and this is not one of them. I mean, this is piecemeal. We could figure this out on a weekend. What they offered is ridiculous. Yeah. Like even those atoms, the amount of atoms they offer, you're just like, That's strangely the amount of atoms that you would need to almost buy cool stuff, which is a very typical microtransaction thing.
Someone went inside the Atomic Shop.
Yeah.
And they showed some of like the skins you could get, and they were all like 1,800. Like you're still just short with the monthly.
Yeah, you're just short. Yeah, it's the very typical changing of currency because they think that people are stupid, and they're not.
It's incredible.
Well, some aren't.
It's actually incredible. Like I find it fascinating personally because it's like how much are you? It's like two things: are you doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on your stance? Or is your head just that far in the sand that you don't know what's going on? Like, which one is it? Maybe there's more to it. But my thought is, how many people does this decision go through before they're like, hold on, stop, this isn't a good idea? Like, obviously, I'm sure this is an overhead decision that was put on the developers. They're like, hey, we're turning this into a service. We need to start making money. This game's not making money. Oh, that scared the shit out of me.
The problem is, Maddie, is most services require people to be using them.
Yeah.
And I do not know where Fallout 76's user base is, and if they could even be, considered a service due to the low amount of like users who are even continually using it. Like and they're hurting the people who are wanting to continue to use it.
What if, this is my big idea, what if they did a Final Fantasy 14 relaunch kind of thing, where they did, I think, Realm Reborn, and then like it came out and it was actually what people wanted. What if they took 76 down and they were like, okay, it's offline, we fucked up, it's over, goodbye, and they relaunched it and was like, here's Fallout 76, we'll call it a Realm Reborn, just for time's sake, and It was with Wastelanders. It was patched. It was functioning. It had more on top of that. Like, would that? Do you think that would? I think that kind of resurgence would get people back into it because it's almost like this is our second attempt, which I don't think it should ever get that far. But still.
And if you're being honest, right? If you're being honest, and then you make those changes and you listen to the community, I think people will see that.
Mm-hmm.
I think their fans will see that.
ESO Online's a good example of a game that had issues.
Tamriel
now
Unlimited.
With Tamriel Unlimited, a lot of MMOs start out and have issues, and we see them be fixed later. Remember that Rainbow Six Siege was not... I liked it, admittedly, but a lot of people didn't like it day one. Ubisoft has done a great job fixing some of their titles. They shouldn't have to. We should have them day one be awesome, but that's beside the point. It just indicates there is a pattern that can be followed to fix something post-launch. I think a reboot would be fine. I'm not 100% sure they've shown that it wouldn't include Atom stores and all this other stuff. Because if the game still was great and still fun, I think we're now at a point to where consumers are starting to like put their foot down about like microtransactions and stuff. I don't think a lot of games are going to continue to get away with it, I guess is what I'm saying. It seems like competition also, 9,000 games last year on Steam released. It is ridiculous. The competition, I even mentioned Disco versus Outer Worlds. They're not even the same type of game. One's 2D isometric, one's or 2.5, and one's, a full 3D game. There's so much competition now that people move quick. They're just like done.
Yeah.
If this isn't working, and that works.
And that goes for all parts of the industry, man. Like, how quick do some people move on from like YouTubers and shit? Like,
yep.
Oh yeah.
Just like that, man. Yep. Like it just happens. So that's why you just gotta always be on your toes. And it's like, that's kind of where it all boils down to. It's like what I said originally. How deep is your head in the sand where you guys don't see the cracked eggshells you're walking on? It's clear. Like there's still like my other perspective. Rather, I'll shift positions here. Is if you're gonna do this, and you're gonna, I guess, just put your hand in the pocket of like the remaining people who are staying loyal, who actually like the game, who want to keep playing it. If you're going to stick your hand in their pockets too, man, and just shake them like money trees, at least make sure it works. That's the other thing. Like a scrap box, come on. Like I know, like, but like that I expected some issues with the private service, but when they're just like, yeah, this is something we're still testing. I'm like, if you're still fucking testing it, why did this service launch?
Why is it out?
Like,
exactly.
Just that's it. At least let the conversation be about, hey, let's talk prices, not let's talk prices and how shit in here is broken. That's what bugs me more than anything because at least then they can get a picture. But now they're trying to it just seems like a dysfunctional communication system because they're trying to relay between broken shit and pricing. And it's like, what's the priority of the overheads at that point when they see both pieces of data? They're like, all right, we're not going to fix it. We're going to try to look at the prices, though, because we want people to buy it. That's probably what's going to happen. I imagine Bethesda will submit...
Mallory was going to say something,
sorry.
I think.
Sorry.
What were you going to say, Mallory?
No, I was going to say I imagine it's just they have some specific sort of timeline, and regardless of whether or not it's finished, they can say it's an experiment, they could say whatever it may be, and they'll just push it anyways because they have to.
Good point.
I'm not saying that's right. It's not right. But that could be it too.
No, you make a really good point there. I didn't even think of that. The timelines. Yeah, you guys have way more experience working within companies than I, so you guys could probably speak more to that that side of things because that's something that kind of just goes right over my head, but that's definitely true. So I guess with all of that, I mean, is there anything we'd like to add into the Fallout First discussion, or are we ready to move on?
Mallory, do you still play it?
Oh, no.
No. Maddie, you said you went in for...
I literally have only gone in for gameplay since the Battle Royale. Battle Royale was fun. Battle Royale I played...
Oh, go ahead.
That doesn't count, though. Like, there's a difference between, like, I want to play this game personally, and then, like, I have to make content sort of thing, right? Like,
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry,
would
that's
you have
actually
played
what
it
I was
without
gonna...
it?
That's exactly what I was going to ask.
No, absolutely not.
All right. That's exactly what I was going to ask.
Like, if once again, if I didn't have, like, a vested content interest, even in the beginning, like, I would not have trusted Bethesda. The beta didn't seem that bad. What I played at the event, I'll admit, didn't even seem that bad. Like, I told people in my initial previews, I was like, this can be really good or this can be bad. Like, it can go either way. And I was left just kind of milquetoast on it. And obviously we know where it headed. But if I were just like a standard consumer, I wouldn't touch this game. But you can tell there's like an interest. Like, people want it to be good because, not now probably, but before this whole PR disaster, anytime I talked about 76, people were like, is it playable now? Like, can I go in and play? Should I pick it up for this price? Because it's always on like this severe discount, right? And so they're like, should I go in, Maddie? I'm just like, no, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
And people are like looking for that opportunity to go back in. And I don't think it stems from like, I love Bethesda. Like, people just like Fallout a lot. And they just want like a good Fallout game from Bethesda. Because everyone remembers, even if Fallout 4 was a disappointment, those times fondly pre-Fallout 4 and then like Fallout 3, New Vegas, like, well, New Vegas isn't from Bethesda, so to speak, but there's just fond memories built up over so many years, even dating back to the originals. I think people just want 76 to be that exciting new iteration where Bethesda tried something new and got it right. Like, we remember, Karak, when we were talking about Horizon Zero Dawn, I was like a big doubter. I was like, no.
Yeah.
I was like, they're not going to go from first-person shooting and kill zone to like a good third-person open-world game, and they did it. And I was like, man, imagine if Bethesda just transitioned from like single-player to online and they nailed it. Like, that's what people want. So, I understand.
And everybody wants Skyrim online or Skyrim co-op. Everybody wanted Fallout co-op. Like, that's, I mean, even in our, when we do a video and we talk about it, especially you and I, when we get like in our dream state and we start talking about what we'd do if we had all the money.
Yeah.
I still believe firmly that it would have been much better had they done a Fallout 5 that was co-op or something like that. It just seems like that would have been a much better fit. Their online structure for them in particular just doesn't seem robust.
It just feels...
Doesn't seem like it's working.
This is going to sound extreme. I'm sure people will agree, but I still feel it sounds extreme. It just felt like it was built around monetization, like to create like a... It's like, oh, well, we could do co-op or we could do this huge shared world and then add this atomic shop
NPCs.
in. Yeah, without NPCs. So the only thing you're seeing are other players. Put this atomic shop in so that people are spending money on all these cool skins that you can get exclusively there. Kind of drive them that way. I don't know. It just felt like it was built around a lot of that. The challenge system wasn't rewarding. It was like a fucking mobile game, like front loaded and then afterwards. No atoms whatsoever. So yeah, that's just personally where I stand on it. Like I said, anyone else want to add anything in, or do we transition?
I'm good.
Yeah, there's not much to...
Yeah. Right.
I will say this, though. People are really looking for a Fallout because even in my review, like the #1 comments are people saying, well, there's no Fallout, so I'll do Outer Worlds. Not that they're dissing on Outer Worlds, but that even when they think of Outer Worlds, they're wishing for a Fallout. I mean, There's a reason why
you see
everybody
my
freaked
review
out.
subtitle?
Yeah, and there's a reason why people
you go.
freaked out when it went from 2.5 to third person and first person. I had to live through that shit where people were like, "How dare they?"
That was my introduction. I have no idea what you're talking about.
But people were so excited about the idea of another Fallout that a lot of people gave it a chance. And I think there's fans out there still, but man, it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
I just want to say it's going to be tough. Like I would not want to be the person in charge of rolling out their next game.
It's probably terrifying hitting the stage. All right, now we talk about delays. There's been a number of delays. We're going to separate. Well, this is going to be one section, but it's going to be separated into two stories I'll read. So we're going to start off with The Last of Us Part 2. It came from a report from Kotaku initially that it would be delayed until spring, and then Naughty Dog confirmed the news in a blog post that The Last of Us Part 2 would be out on May 29th, 2020. There was a whole write-up on the blog post from Neil Druckmann. So it's out of so far what we can see, the very busy time of the year, which was that like March, April section. I normally don't care about delays, but this one particularly just annoyed me. Like, I understand the whole ethics behind delays, but they just announced the release date like 3 weeks ago. So I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was really stupid. Like they just forced an announcement for no reason. I just thought it was very, very stupid. And then on top of that, Watch Dogs Legion, Gods and Monsters, as well as Rainbow Six Quarantine, all of these games got delayed. There's a write-up that pretty much the last two AAA launches from Ubisoft being The Division 2 and Ghost Recon Breakpoint were flops. Now, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, that's the correct name, right, by the way? It's called Breakpoint?
Yeah, Breakpoint. Mm-hmm.
Okay, just making sure. Because I get, what is it, Wildlands was the other one?
Wildlands was the other one, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Breakpoint doesn't surprise anyone. That game was like a tremendous flop. Like it was heavy. Like, you want to talk heavy monetization? I think Ubisoft gave people a run for their money. But I was shocked that The Division 2 didn't do that well for them. I thought that game sold really well according to early sales data, and I thought there was a pretty ingrained player base there. But I guess maybe people didn't stick around or didn't buy as much as Ubisoft had invested in. A lot of people were speaking to how the game was. That games as a service done right. You know, the missions were exciting. There was a complete story. It wasn't buggy. The servers worked on launch. Like, stuff that should be common nowadays that Ubisoft really executed. But anyway, all these games got delayed until fiscal year 2020-2021 in the Q2, Q3 window, which would be July 2020 to December 2020. So that fall holiday area is going to be super freaking busy, as I think most of us expected with the new consoles coming around. Two other AAA games and various other smaller titles, including Roller Champions, will also launch next year for Ubisoft. So I'm imagining one of those is Assassin's Creed Ragnarok, the leaked Assassin's Creed game that's apparently about Vikings or something like that. And then the CEO at Ubisoft, Yves Guillemot, said, "We want our teams to have more development time to ensure that their respective innovations are perfectly implemented so as to deliver optimal experiences for players." That's a really crafty way of just saying we're giving our game more time to make it better. This decision will have a very significant impact on our financial results for this fiscal year and goes against our recent successes in the building a more stable development model. However, it is in line with our strategy to maximize the future value of our brands for the long-term benefit of our employees, players, and shareholders. We expect to have a positive impact on our financial performance as from 2020 to 2021, which once again is a bit of a crafty way of saying Ghost Recon Breakpoint was so bad, we are going to just focus on quality for all these games. And I tip my cap to Ubisoft for taking action there. Certainly they have a lot of valuable IP and they could have just sat on it, especially ones that are interesting between Rainbow Six Quarantine as well as Watch Dogs Legion. I'm just surprised all three of these games got delayed. Like, they really just said, nope, push them back. And I thought that was a little surprising. So what do you guys take away from this? Guys and gals. I apologize, Mallory.
You can go, Mallory, if you want to go first.
You're fine. I don't know. I mean, like, delaying that many games at once makes me think that they're pausing and maybe reevaluating some things internally. Who knows what any of that could be about, but that seems like quite a few titles to be paused all at the same time. I don't know. I don't know how far off my guess would be. So What do you guys think?
Of all the companies that I think overall, when they have a game not do well, that learns from it, it has been usually Ubisoft. So I'm not a big fan of a lot of these, big companies, but they really do. We talked about this in the podcast. We were trying to break down big companies that have had issues and who does what. The thing about their CEO is, like, that's the guy who fought Vivendi because he didn't want, Ubisoft to be purchased by them because he felt that they were going to just turn him into a disaster, where how they were going to release games. It feels to me like he personally is pretty passionate about games and is like, let's make sure we don't screw this up again. Remember that they had probably one of the number one actors on all of TV in their last major game and made it one of the most boring games humanly possible. You would have to actually get a PhD in making boring games to make a more boring game than Breakpoint. It was stunning. And, whoa! It
scared me.
I love that
time,
we all have dogs. I love that we all have dogs, though. They just join in.
I get a kick out of the fact that when I was talking and her dog started barking, I jumped, and then I didn't move at all that time, and you jumped.
Yeah, I would say when it comes down to it, Ubisoft. I'm not saying I trust them, but I feel that they are the ones that look. They did it with Unity too. They had a disaster in Unity's launch. They did repair it and fix it, and then they had Syndicate, which I know a lot of people, depending on you love it or like it, but they also then were able to recreate Assassin's Creed. Regardless if you love the new Assassin's Creed games, many people consider them insanely fun and well done. And they were able to transition that way as well. And it just feels to me like Ubisoft knows overall what they're doing more than most big companies. Also, he seems to be able to take control of Ubisoft in a way that most CEOs can't, of a major multinational company, where he's just like, stop, because it would have taken every one of those heads to get together with him to decide to stop their games and delay them, all three of them, and that's pretty stunning. Also, Watch Dogs 2 did not really blow it out of the park either.
I thought of that in the middle of me saying that they had some value IP. I was like, wait.
Yeah, and Division 2 also shows that you can do a well-done game and not do well. Because despite some people not like Division 2, that game was actually fundamentally sound, had it reviewed quite well, and it still didn't make it. So if I were Ubisoft, not only would I be thinking about the gamer, but also your bottom line and go, okay, this game we did do well, which Breakpoint we didn't. Why did Division 2 not do well? What can we fix on that? And I think Ubisoft usually aims for consumers overall. Ignoring the microtransaction, that's a business thing that's separate. I'm saying to get something people want to play. Ubisoft does care if you want to play it. That is something I cannot say about some other company, where it does not feel that they are waking up going, man, I hope these people want to play my game. Instead, they're like, I hope these people want to buy something in my game. Mm-hmm. And I'm not ignoring Ubisoft's microtransactions.
Right.
I've hit on them too.
I just feel like the steady increase in value of the Assassin's Creed IP kind of speaks to what you're saying. I think every year
it's insane.
Got better, and
yeah.
They're even taking years off with it. They listen. Yeah, they listen.
Oh, that's another good point, Maddie. Taking years off with Assassin's Creed is mind-blowing when you have Madden 2020 and they forgot to take the banners out from Madden 2019.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. Oh my god.
Yeah,
that was funny.
like some of these companies are like yearly when they could upload a roster. Let's be fucking honest.
Man,
it would take
so
a person with an Excel spreadsheet to upload a new roster. They don't need a new game. And Ubisoft is like, oh no, our major game we're delaying.
Do you know that
by a year?
It's funny you mentioned that NBA 2K20 was the best-selling or fastest
in 1 month. In 1 month, it was #1 and the best-selling game of the year in one single month.
I'm like,
wow,
unfucking believable.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's because pot was legalized, and I think everybody's just high as fuck. I'm just joking. I have no clue. I puff pass, people. You got to move. You got to pass the bong. I have no clue why people bought that, but you have a friend, Maddie, we've talked about, who bought the. We have friends like that who are like, I don't care if there's microtransactions. I'm playing basketball and I want to be Kevin Durant.
Why?
I don't know, and I'm
Why?
not going to pretend I understand.
And I'm just like, these games fucking suck, man.
I like football. You don't see me, lining up, or WWE. I love wrestling, goofy wrestling games.
That's a whole nother.
And that's a disaster. Did you see 2K20? That Sony's offering refunds as of this morning? Sony's offering refunds for WWE to people, select people, but you can contact them and get a refund. Some people. That's Sony, by the way.
I
not
watched a
2K.
video by a YouTuber. I sometimes watch RGT85, and he's like a big WWE fan. I shouldn't say WWE, sorry. He watches like AEW, NXT.
Yeah, right.
You know, the good wrestling. And so I was like, I wonder what he thinks about like WWE. And I was like watching his video, and he was just flipping the fuck out. Like, I was looking at some of the character models, and that's where like right away you just looked at it and were like, oh boy, this is not
It's
good.
a disaster, man. It's a disaster.
It's amazing that they said, we're gonna fucking sell this thing. Like,
Yep.
it's actually Fallout 76 levels of fascinating, because it doesn't work. It's not like ugly. It's like PS2 ugly. When you look at, I think someone posted
I need to look at this.
Yeah,
Oh, you
someone
should look
posted
at the bug and glitch
comparison.
videos.
A
They
comparison
are
of
mind-blowing.
I think it was WWE 15 to
Yeah,
this year.
it looks worse than a game 5 years ago from in the same series. It's it's pure
like,
insanity.
Actually incredible. Actually incredible. I think it's actually kind of funny. But
Did you see
in
the one
wrong
where
way.
the ref melts into the two women wrestlers?
Yeah,
They're
and he's just,
wrestling,
like, shaking.
and he's shaking, and then he just melts into him, and you're like, it looks like The Thing. It looks like an
my
old
God.
horror movie. It is so crazy to see that. And again, we're looking at competition. If you get an NXT game, what if another
I heard
company?
a rumor that an AEW game is going to be made. So
There you go. There you go.
And that's dangerous, because AEW's already. I used to love wrestling growing up, man. Like, I watched that shit a ton, and I stopped because the WWE just got corny as fuck. And then I've just heard some really good things about AEW, and I started watching it. It's so good, and they're clearly stealing all the thunder. Like, they're going after the like, quote, returners, like people who. Like me, grew up in like the 90s, the early 2000s, who really liked wrestling. They're kind of channeling that into it. And if they get a game out of that, man, I'm just saying it'll help them out so much, because they already got a TV deal with TNT. Like, they're going places at this rate. If they just increase their roster in the right ways, holy shit, man, that would be really, really bad news for the WWE. Like, they better hope that they can like fix this or get it on track or improve the brand before AEW like really, they've gained steam, but like really just hits their stride. That'll be dangerous. Not like it'll end WWE. I think it's too popular for just like little kids, but they'll definitely have to fight a lot more to get people in the door. Mallory, are you liking what you're looking at?
Sorry, I'm like watching a bunch of
No, you don't have to
glitch videos.
apologize. I was genuinely asking you.
These are really bad.
Yeah, 76 level or worse?
Oh, I think they're animation.
I think they're
they seem
worse.
Yeah.
They seem worse. Yeah, this is pretty bad.
Isn't that crazy?
I don't understand how you could launch a game like this. Timelines. That's what it is.
I'm learning so much today.
I remember I got an
making
email
that up.
from somebody who was making Road to Hell, which is considered one of the worst games that's ever been released.
Oh,
And
Ride
he
to Hell?
emailed me. Ride to Hell, sorry.
Oh
and I
my
was going to
God.
review it, and this is when I was a small channel, but there was one forum that really liked me, and there's some guys in there. And one of the guys never had said he did any software development, and I just got a DM, and he was like, under no circumstances should you buy this game. And he was one of the lead programmers. And so I didn't. I was like, okay, I've got other things. It wasn't really high on my list. And then I saw it, and I was like, imagine what the devs...
I like how you didn't blink at that. That's crazy. I've never received an email like that. If I got that
it was
from
just
someone...
like, just run, bro. It was like, I think he said something along the lines of, to review it, you should, have somebody pay you the return on the investment of your time.
Oh
It's so bad. You won't believe it. And
yeah,
it was.
I played it for video.
Oh, did you?
It's not bad. Yeah, have you played it at all?
Dude, I didn't touch it. When I trusted
let's just
him.
say there are sex scenes with clothes on. It's really fucking weird. Like, there's one part. I'll tell you a little story. There's one part where I'm walking around this area, and this guy's like harassing a girl. I'm like, what the fuck? And like the way they were doing it was really weird. And you fight this guy, and you knock him out, and so she just decides like, hey, we're gonna fuck, and it's really fucking weird.
Wow.
Because you just see him like humping her, but like his clothes are on. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little R-rated, but it's really
No, that's awesome.
Fine.
it's really
That's
bad,
awesome.
man. It's really, 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 really bad. I mean, it's hilarious to watch like But like you could even see like my face in the video was getting red. I was like, oh my god, like this is really bad, man. So, what the hell were we talking about? Delays.
Ubisoft delaying.
Yeah. Anything about The Last of Us Part 2? Sorry, we totally got caught up on Ubisoft.
I'm happy they delayed it. Like,
I never got to correct myself. I'm not unhappy they delayed it. I'm just annoyed that
you'll have to wait.
Just I don't care. Just why put out a release date? Why? Like why so recent?
Oh, you mean because it was a month prior? Yeah.
Yeah. Like what the fuck? That's so ridiculous, man. Like what happened in that month where they're like, yeah, move this back 3 months, man. This isn't good. Like what?
You want to put tinfoil hats on for a second, and you tell me if I'm going crazy.
All right, do it.
Okay.
Do it.
Jim Ryan, I think the guy who took over for Sony from Shane. What was his name?
Sean Layden.
Sean. He's the guy who also said backwards compatible doesn't matter. Like systems shouldn't be backwards compatible. Nobody ever uses it. Blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. He's also the guy that has been changing all of their strategies for Sony's PS5. I'm wondering if there's some gap there that they're trying to fill, and that's why you not only got one game moved, you got two, especially when you look at Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima not having any overlap whatsoever in gameplay style. They're not at all connected. It's like Dark Souls and fucking Outer Worlds. Like they're not really. There's no real reason to worry about their releases even being within maybe 2 months.
Makes sense.
So I'm just wondering if, I'm just wondering if there's something else going on for the release, and it's a sliding out to keep, people excited about Sony. Which there's nothing really wrong with that. Companies will move stuff to make sure everybody's talking. But it just seems like 1 month is almost like somebody looked. That's certainly not for QA or something. Where it seems to be something along the lines of just a business decision. And if so, it would make sense to me that they're rolling out their ideas for the PS5. Maybe there's a gap in games. I think just last month, the team finally said they had started PS5 backwards compatibility investigation. And that is, anybody who's working on an emulator or anything like that will tell you that's a tight timeline to be ready in 2020. So maybe they're worried about what they're offering. And it's more along the lines of like trying to make sure people still want a PS4 because you've got these games a little later into the year than you would expect, especially when you have a new system. Or they want to show you the PS5 version of Ghost of Tsushima, which people have hinted about as well. Like, are we going to see a step up in the graphics on the PS5 particular version? Should be interesting to see too.
I think you hit the nail on the head. Yeah, I never thought of the separate versions. That's
the same version, but like a PC, low power PC, high power PC. I'm just wondering if maybe they're like, it'll be a little closer to the release of that console, and they can say, and it looks good. I mean, at least from the trailers we've seen. Who knows? You never.
Ghost of Tsushima is a little less surprising just because we haven't heard anything about it. You think that
True,
announcement would come earlier?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It hasn't been any data on that game.
Confusing, man. All right.
Do you guys want that game? Because I'm going to be honest, everything I've seen was just like some pretty graphics and a dude slicing a sword. It never grabbed me like, let's say, Last of Us
looked a little clunky.
A little clunky. What about you, Mallory? Have you even seen anything on it?
Nope.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I'm not convinced. I'm sorry. I have yet to be convinced.
It looks good, like aesthetically and open world wise. It looks interesting, but I'm just a little jaded that they're not doing Sly Cooper. Sorry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's the real reason.
So they can fuck themselves. I'm just saying.
Sly Cooper would be dope. I'm waiting for that too.
Thank you. I know, right? Like I don't know why they haven't done it. They apparently this month, obviously it's not happening. I think it got canceled, but there's no news on it. They were supposed to launch a Sly Cooper TV show. And
really?
Yeah, I remember looking it up like 2 years ago, seeing it. I'm like, okay. And then I was just sitting there talking to someone about Sly Cooper. I think it was my girlfriend. And I looked it up on my phone, and I see that it's launching this month. And I'm like, oh, shit. And like they said they had 2 seasons prepped, and like it was like 60 episodes. And I thought to myself, oh man, okay. Like,
what streaming service, Maddie? Do you know?
I think it was supposed to be Nickelodeon. Like, I don't think it was supposed to be a streaming service.
Gotcha.
I know, right? I really wanted to see them do it because I was like, maybe this will work, and then they'll sort of do like a Ratchet and Clank style remake with the first or the second Sly Cooper. preferably the second because that was really good. No dice though. Everything I love dies. All right.
Wow. That's dark.
That just got so dark.
I
Wow.
just meant like game IPs, not people.
You sound like you're singing a Linkin Park song all of a sudden. You're like, everything I love dies.
You know, it's funny. My friends and I were singing Linkin Park last night.
I know, dude. I know. I know
know?
everything about your life. I've got ESP, man. I know.
Okay.
I know what you were doing and last night, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Aww.
Seriously.
Yeah. How dare you? How
Yeah.
dare you?
Jeez.
All right, changing topics. Who wants to talk about Call of Duty?
Oh, I will for a second.
All
Mallory,
right.
are you gonna get Call of Duty? You're not really.
She loves COD.
I'm not a.
You're
I've
not a
never really
shooty,
been a Call of
pew,
Duty
pew
type
fan?
of. No. The next game I'm looking forward to is like Planet Zoo, Animal Crossing, like games that
Planet
are
Zoo,
You're
for
looking forward
sure.
to
that are
Animal
like
Crossing? I
quite
didn't
the
know.
opposite.
You're
Well,
really, like,
Sims is
slightly
my
excited for
favorite
that one.
series of all time, so we're not that opposite.
I've been playing a lot of Sims too, so that's dope.
Yeah, Sims 2 is awesome.
Karak, have you seen Mallory's reaction to when Animal Crossing got announced?
Wait.
Oh boy,
Wait.
there was no reaction.
The reveal, or not
This
the reveal?
wasn't-
The
I'm kidding.
Oh.
I'm kidding.
This
No,
wasn't
when
the
they
crying
finally
video, was it?
the release
Yes,
date. That's
that's-
what it was.
that was me.
Oh, was it
You were
really
like,
you, Mallory?
Who is this person?
Was it
And
really
he's-
you? Before I continue.
It was me. It was. yeah.
That's the one I was actually talking about a couple months ago on the podcast, or a couple weeks ago on the podcast, Maddie. When I said I just don't get emotional, like I saw people crying about Animal Crossing. I did not realize that's actually. I bet you it's that video that I saw. Bet you $1 million. But hey, I'd cry if they did a Sims 5 and it was open world. But when it comes to Call of Duty,
Yeah, they did KOTOR.
overall, it. Oh, dude, KOTOR would be awesome.
They won't.
So with
bastards.
Call of Duty, I'll just say it's another Call of Duty. I was telling Maddie I was sort of upset about the Call of Duty review event because I think review events just lead us down a horrible discussion about like exactly what you're experiencing when you're at an event and their internet versus your home internet.
Yeah.
IGN refused to go. US
That
Gamer
blew my
refused
mind.
to go. Well, IGN's refused a couple times. So is US Gamer. Michael Williams. He's been on the podcast, my podcast, a couple times, and he's very pro everybody doing the same content at the same time and doing it from your house. Like however you may experience the game is how you should review the game, I guess. And I think he was involved in the Metal Gear Solid fiasco as well. I think they turned that down as well. But overall, I would still say it's a Call of Duty, right? And I know Maddie and I disagree on a couple, but he hasn't. What one was the last one you liked of Call of Duty?
I played a lot of Black Ops 4, but I mean, it was mostly like competitive with my friends. You know, it wasn't like I was in the pub matches. That's the thing. My opinion on Call of Duty is like relevant but irrelevant because I don't play it for public matches, and
You're
sometimes
just with
hop
your
in the
friends,
campaign. Yeah,
and
I
then the
literally
campaign.
I play this thing called Game Battles. You hop into a private match, you invite like a separate team online, you like compete, and sometimes you can win money.
Oh, gotcha.
Kind of the long and short of it.
I was just going to say, like, I read the reviews. PC Gamer had some issues at the review event and stuff, so I didn't know what to expect. There were some issues getting online. But overall, yeah, it's Call of Duty. It's a little slower. Aim down sights is a little slower, which I sort of like because I'm an Arma fan. I like simulation stuff I sort of dig, and I like the slightly lower pace.
Mm-hmm.
It was okay, the AI, so you can do multiplayer, and if you can't fill a server, you can put AI in. And I'm telling you, I just want to shake the hand of the person who made the AI because they so stunningly failed at making anything intelligent.
I thought you were heading down a positive path
mind
there.
blowing. I have video in my Discord I've been posting of enemies on their team on one side of a fence, my guys on my team, they're 4, and me and my other player just staring at them as they're circling, just like 500 miles an hour. There's all the AI is just completely borked. So anybody who's out there playing, you probably don't play with the AI, but I would also not fill out any servers with AI. It's very terrible. The campaign is pretty good, and it looks gorgeous, like always. I think they're multiplayer looks like multiplayer, so it's a step down, to get that many people online and all throwing grenades at 1 second, not have it drop frame. But
Gotcha.
the campaign itself is pretty beautiful, which I've always liked. I like the like bombastic. I'm okay with a Michael Bay game, and that's what it is. I mean, it's it's not offering anything new though. And some of the people who said that it feels piecemeal, I would agree with. There's a lot of weird decisions in the multiplayer. Like, this is this many people, this is this many people, this you can do online, this you can do offline. In fact, we had to get an Excel spreadsheet and fill it out to figure out who was going to play what, because we didn't know how many people could join in different groups. It was, there's a lot of that where it doesn't feel cohesive.
I just switch games.
Yeah. Well, we wanted to for a video.
Right.
Once again, like, what will you do for a video versus what would you do on your own? But it's been fun. It's been fun to shoot guns and stuff like that. And from what I've talked to a couple people who've jumped in who seem to have enjoyed it. I've only spent about 6 hours in it, and it's been enjoyable. I don't think it's going to stick around at all. I think it'll be a little bit like Black Ops, where like all of a sudden Apex is back to #1 and you don't hear anything about it. Mm-hmm. Free to play games are hard to fight when they're good.
Yeah, I play Smite all the time.
Yeah, Smite, Apex, all of it. Like, if you have a free to play game that's in any way sound, it's very difficult to fight it.
I think they're bringing League of Legends to consoles. I don't know if I misheard that.
Oh, really?
I didn't hear about that.
Let me double check that.
That's crazy.
I was listening to a podcast and I thought that's what I heard, but I was driving, so I was like, I don't know.
Would you play it on the console?
Only reason I would, and people are gonna like eye roll heavily at this, but the only reason I would and not PC is just because that's where my friends play. Like, a lot of people like well, here's the thing. A lot of people like to thrash that. Like, I'll do like all my reviews if I can on my PS4. It's just because that's usually where I'm always gaming. It's like the most optimal setup for me. It's like where my everything is. So like I just prefer to review there. And like I remember reading a fucking comment today that was like, why in the absolute fuck would you? I don't know why I'm using that accent, but like, why in the fuck would you? Why would you play on a PS4 for the Outer Worlds? I'm just like, who the fuck cares?
Dude, I think I got the same one.
Yeah, I'm like,
I legitimately think I got the exact same. I mean, those are almost the exact same words, of which I informed him that I was only offered one code for one console. Like, you also can't just demand whatever you want from a game.
It's coming to League of Legends is coming to consoles and mobile next year as Wild Rift.
Yeah, I'd play it.
So,
I mean, just to check it out.
They'll probably kill it too. There's definitely a market for that. So they'll probably kill it.
I mean,
that's
think
awesome.
of it this way.
That's
this
awesome.
company, until like a couple of weeks ago, where they announced a ton of shit, like lived off one game for 10 years. That's insane.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
And then announced how many? 5 in one day? How many did they announce?
I think they announced that shooter, that hero
4 or
shooter
5,
that kind of looks like
a 2D fighter.
A card game, a fighter. Yeah, they announced like 4.
4 or 5.
If you account for the port. Yeah, 4. Yeah, they expanded. I mean, it was about time. It's kind of like what I expect one day Steam will do with like a bunch of their shit that's just like lying dormant. They're just going to be like, Left 4 Dead 3 and Half-Life 3 and
Portal 3.
Yeah, you're right. Portal's the best out of all those as far as I'm concerned. I know that's a hot take, but
wow. I agree.
I like Portal the most. It's just too charming. You know, like I'd say I care about Left 4 Dead the most, and Half-Life, I'm just like, all right, it's good. But
I think
I played it way after.
I played Half-Life. So did I. I played Half-Life much later on, and I don't think it's the same experience.
Yeah.
Kind of like Fallout 1 and 2 for me. Like, if I were to play it many years ago, I would have enjoyed it more than I would now.
I get that. I liked Fallout 2 a lot. Fallout 1, I was like kind of going through the motions. Like, I'll be honest, I don't really care that much for Fallout 1, but like Fallout 2, I really enjoyed. It was just because it was like very not Fallout in a sense. Like, there was like the game was always like breaking the fourth wall, and I was like, oh, okay. Like, you'd be talking, like, there's one point you could just visit Chris Avallone's grave, and I'm like, oh, the writer of the game. Okay, sure. Why the fuck not? All right, that'll wrap it up for Call of Duty, and if there's nothing else, we'll get into Patron questions.
Just before, let me verify we didn't miss any news while we talked, which has happened to us before. I'm just verifying. Last of Us delayed, blah, blah, blah. I see nothing that we missed. How many times have we jumped in and then talked about a game, and then they're posting and being like,
are you talking about the questions?
No, I was looking for the news
Okay.
because there's been times where you and I covered like something on Spider-Man or whatever, and while we were talking during the podcast, the news got updated, and we sounded like a bunch of jackasses.
I thought you were checking
mostly me.
I thought you were talking in the Discord.
No.
Just because I was reading and I forgot to interject people's questions throughout the show. Because I am rusty. This is what happens when you just take 1 week off. What happens when I take my holiday break? You guys are fucked. You're coming back to an awful show. All right. Here we go. Let's get into the patron questions. We're going to start off with JPat93. Now, one question's for me. One question's for Karak. But Mallory's going to answer both.
Let's do
All
it.
right.
To me, it's what's my favorite desert island console? The hell is that? Does that mean like...
What?
You're stuck on a desert island.
Oh!
Which console would you bring?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, man. I'll bring my PS2.
I was gonna say the same thing.
There we go. All right. Good taste. Yeah, I think PS2 's
Maybe a
gotta be-
3DS. That was gonna be my second.
Interesting, yeah. If Sony, in that alternate universe, I'm stuck on an island for some reason, supported the Vita, I'll take that with me out of spite. Just tell everyone to fuck themselves while I'm going to the island. I'm just fading away.
Wow.
All right, Karak, your question is, what's your least favorite console controller?
N64.
Oh, yeah. That was quick. You were just, dude, like, you've been holding that in.
Dude, it's angst. It's pure angst. I hate that controller with such a passion. Yeah, for sure that one.
I just used it the other week. My girlfriend and I were playing Pokemon Stadium.
Did you need a third person to help you? I hate that controller.
Well, since Pokemon Stadium was just like selecting moves, it wasn't that bad, but yeah.
Oh,
when I
I
tried
liked Pokemon Stadium a lot.
Oh, that's
on
an
the
amazing
N64.
game. That's an amazing
and I don't
game.
like Pokemon, but that was actually very enjoyable.
There's still
Really
something
liked
special
it.
about it. Like when we were playing, the commentator that's like yelling over the match was like making specific remarks about shit that was happening. I was like, this game had a lot of detail, even for back
Yeah,
then.
it was a great game. It was
Yeah.
a great game.
Mallory, least favorite console controller?
That's a hard question. It's a really hard question. Either the Nintendo Switch Pro controller.
Wow. I like the hot take.
I don't know. I feel like I don't have a good enough reason for it, other than it's just like too chunky. My hands are
Right.
really small. Xbox controllers, usually I'm not like the biggest fan of either. I love like PlayStation controllers. The PS4 controller feels really good in my hand just because they're just small. I actually just Xbox sent me the Elite 2 controller, and it is
Ooh.
amazing. I love it. So it's kind of like changed my mind a little bit. I feel it just feels right in my hands, even though they're very small. So
Good.
I don't know though. I don't feel like I have like a
if
super
you like all
hatred
controllers-
towards a controller, other than like maybe I'm not a huge fan of the Nintendo Switch Pro controller, and I wouldn't say I hate it. I'm just not a big fan.
Okay. No, that's fair. I mean, you don't have to hate something. That's good. Tropical Ice Cow. Oh, man, we got some great names in here. Asked last week, but for Maddie, what launch titles do you expect for PS5 and Scarlet? And what games would you love to see? A Killzone or a Resistance would be great. Secondly, what are your thoughts on the Batman Arkham Legacy leaks? Mallory, just a heads up. We
yeah.
usually don't get these like direct questions like by name. Like, aren't they usually like really general? And
Yeah,
like we
yeah.
just answer them, but now like everyone's addressing by name. Launch titles I'd expect for PS5 and Scarlet. Obviously, Halo for Xbox. I think that's already confirmed anyway. PS5, my big prediction has always been, I just keep saying it so I can tell people I told them so, I think that Horizon Zero Dawn is going to get a sequel for a launch title. With the new delay, Ghost of Tsushima seems like it's plausible to be a launch title instead. There's like, let's just put this around the PS5. Even if it launches for the PS4, like launch it on the day the system comes out, and because of backwards compatibility, have an enhanced version or some shit. I don't know if PlayStation's going to fill out the shooter area because they're more known for like third-person action games, and Microsoft is going to have Halo, and it's like Halo's such a recognizable shooter brand. Do you fight against that, or do you just keep embracing the strength that really like propelled you since the end of the PS3? I would just stick with that. If you guys feel like chiming in with any hot takes, by all means.
I answered it last week. That was the one repeated question.
Gotcha. Mallory? Anything?
Probably another Last of Us, another Uncharted.
Yeah, just run through them all.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like all those typical games will probably come PS5.
Yeah. Secondly, what are your thoughts on the Batman Arkham Legacy leaks? Did any of y'all catch this leak? This fucking spicy ass leak?
Yes.
So, for those who don't know, apparently, what's happening is it's going to be a Batman Arkham game where your villain is the Court of Owls, and you play through like the family of like Batman, Robin, I think Nightwing, and I think Batwoman would be the other one. It's going to be those four, and like some people were saying it could go wider than that, but the leaks were saying more accurately it's been narrowed down. They aren't sure though, but presumably that's what it's going to be. I imagine based off that whole premise right there alone that it's going to be more like Shadow of Mordor style. But I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on this because personally I'm hyped. I think this sounds awesome. I'm very excited for a new Batman game because it's been so long now. Like I've had time to miss it. That like if they did this in 2017, I'd be like, okay, cool, more Batman. But like now that it's been 4 years, I'm ready. My body's ready. Going on 5 years.
Mallory?
Yeah, I'm gonna be a hater. Superhero games and/or movies are not my thing.
Oh, that's not a hater, but I thought you were saying like
little
overrated.
bit.
I thought you were gonna be like they're
No,
overrated.
no,
I'm like
no.
that's a hater statement, but
No.
all right, that's
They're not
fine.
so much my
So
thing.
you've never played like Spider-Man PS4. You don't go to see Endgame. No Joker in your system.
I did see Endgame, and it was
Okay.
really good. So
Okay.
I would like to see Joker. I will probably end up watching it after it's not in the theaters anymore, but
Yeah.
it's not like something like if my friends and my husband wants to go see it, I'd be like, let's do it, but
Awesome.
I wouldn't probably
More of a
like
social
willingly.
thing to go out and enjoy together.
Yeah.
I respect that because like I enjoy them a lot, but like I feel like because it's so is the word accessible?
Oversaturated.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's the word
Yeah.
for it.
There's just
it's
so
hard
much
to
of
build
it.
up excitement when there's just a lot of it,
Yeah.
So I get that.
especially movies.
All right, that's totally fair. Carrick, do you have any excitement then for the Batman Arkham C? Arkham C? Yeah, that'll be the abbreviation.
The other rumor was that the lead voice who did Batman said he's not in the new game, which I think indicates they'll go with the Batman is missing, and it's actually not Batman. It's it's Robin, Nightwing, maybe Batgirl, and you're playing them as you're trying to figure out where Batman went and what's going on there. Especially because the Court of Owls, which I'm just now getting into because I've never liked comics, and I'm just now getting into comics. I happen to be reading that, and they are like one of his best nemesis. Like one of the smarter ones, and they, in fact, one of the things they do is trap him for a year, using like drugs and psychosis and all this stuff. So that would be cool to see them not. It would be called Batman Legacy, but legacy as a term. Most companies don't name their game without it meaning something, and to me, legacy would matter. Would sort of make more sense if it wasn't him and it was those people that at least at that time had to take on the mantle. And yeah, it'd be cool. I'm super excited for it, man. I would love to see it. I think it's been just about enough time for me to be excited as well for those. Just like you, I was by night I enjoyed, but I was like, I'm done. And then the movies were just, and now that they've sort of petered out a little bit, I think
It's the right time.
it's the right time. Yeah, next year would be a good. Imagine Sony walking out at E3 and saying, PS4
Exclusive. Oh god.
exclusive because
They had DC and Marvel.
Dude, they are tight with Warner Brothers. Every time anything for that is announced, PS4 gets early shit.
Yeah.
Like I could see them, maybe not exclusive, but maybe some DLC or something exclusive.
We shall see.
I hate that shit, by the way.
Molotov Michelle has multiple questions. One of them we answered was about, do we still have any sort of faith that Bethesda can come back from the damage to their reputation over these last few years? So we did cover that. But here's a more nuanced question about the PlayStation 5. A lot of next-gen talk, and given that the year-over-year sales are kind of going down, it makes sense why people are very invested in what's happening next. She asks, with PS5 and it likely having a trophy system again, what would you like for them to change, renovate, add to make it better? You know me so well. I love trophies. I love getting them. It's hard to think of that because I think right now it's one of those if it's not broken, don't fix it systems. Like I enjoy the taking a screenshot at the time of the trophy being acquired, because you'll have games like actually Days Gone where they sort of set up the trophy to go off at a specific point in a cutscene so that when you look at the pictures when you're going through your trophies, you can like remember certain moments, and it's particularly designed around that. I like the rarity thing, so it feels a little bit better when you get them. Because it's not for everybody, but if you're into trophies, like you get this kind of system where you see like, oh man, I have a platinum trophy that only like 2% of people have, and you're like, hell yeah. Like my friend has the Smite Platinum, which is really hard to get. I only have like 80% of the trophies, but it's got like, I think a 0.1% completion rate. Like insanely low. So he's probably like one of 100 people or something like that, based off all the amount of people who play the game. And like I've tried going for it. Like it's just, there's some stuff that's, you just have to play the game a lot and hope you get there and get to put hundreds of hours in. I don't know what I'd want them to add or make better, because I really like it as it is. Maybe, you know what, here's one. I thought what was really cool is for Bloodborne in the UK only they did this, where if you got the platinum trophy for that game, they would give you a unique dynamic wallpaper. And I was like, man, that's cool. I got the Bloodborne platinum thinking that it wasn't going to be UK only, and it was. So that was really disappointing anyway, but I still felt good that I got it. But I'd love to see them give like little rewards like that, like an avatar, a wallpaper. I think Mallory's dog agrees with that. So anyway, those are little things I'd change. I don't know. Karak, you don't like trophies. I know that. So, or you're not big on them. You turn them off, in fact. So
I was gonna say I would love if the next gen allowed me to nuke them from my system.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Such a strong opinion.
Yeah.
I hate them. Well, he loves them. I hate them. There's certain things that we are completely on opposite sides. And that's one of them.
That's okay.
It is okay like that you're wrong,
That's
and
okay.
Far Cry Primal is good.
Oh, no.
Here we go. I
did say that I probably, if I went back to it, I might enjoy it a little bit more. Well, that's all.
You did. I would say I like your idea of giving something. See, the problem I have with achievements is, first of all, I don't want game makers creating the game around the achievements.
Right.
I hate the idea of that. And I'm nervous that as it becomes bigger, that might be a thing. However, giving a dynamic wallpaper or giving something, which most don't, Xbox does an amazing thing with the sound. I will admit, because I review, so I get them rare most of the time. Like I'll get a rare achievement, and it has this crystalline, saccharine sound to it that like gets into my ears, and I love it. But that's the only thing. I would love to get something from it, like a picture. That's fine. If they add something to it, I think they're much more useful than they currently are.
Speaking of
just
Xbox,
a thing.
You want to know what's on my Xbox that I haven't touched in a good number of months? Let's get some guesses. What do you guys think's on my Xbox right now?
On your Xbox, sitting on there?
Sitting on there.
Forza? No.
It's not a game. I can promise you that.
Oh, it's not a game. It's not a game.
Sorry, I should have been more specific. It's just random objects.
They haven't touched in a while?
I'm saying I haven't touched the console in a while. That's why these things are on top of my Xbox.
Oh, I have no clue.
Oh, you're saying items on your actual console.
Say this is suddenly lost its
I was like, is it on your Xbox or is it?
Yeah, he's saying it's laying on his Xbox.
I thought it was like an application and or like an item you
had
on
the
actual
physical product sitting on my shelf over there.
Come on, Maddie.
Okay, all right. At least one guess before I unveil something that's totally unimportant.
A bar of Irish Spring soap.
Okay, you're actually really close. That's hilarious.
That you haven't touched in how long?
He just said a long time.
Days? A long time?
Are you calling me smelly?
No.
I was. The joke was that you were smelly. Yes, that actually was what my joke was.
I just put that together. What the fuck? Well,
some old food or something.
No, I'm not gross.
Like a pancake, Mallory. Like a pancake from like a month and a half ago. He's like, I haven't touched it.
I have a friend. All right, we're going to go off track now. I have a friend who actually, it's fucking gross. I remember, I have it on a video actually. I can go and dig it up. We go into his house to film a video for my old series, Friendly Competition. And what I did was for the patrons, I'd film behind the scenes videos. I put them in quotes, behind the scenes. And we were in his room, and he wasn't home at the time. He was like, go inside my house. You can just wait for me there.
Here we go.
So we go inside his room, and we open up, actually, you guys can kind of see, I have a similar hutch system to his. And, we open up, one right here. And when we do, inside there is a plate with like flakes from like the sweet and sour nuggets that you can get from a Chinese shop with like the fucking red sauce. I'm just like, we just pull it out and I'm like, that is fucking gross. Anyway, I'm not that guy. That is nasty. More importantly,
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. What's on top of my Xbox is golf balls, like a Titleist box of golf balls. Now, here's where Karak was close. I'm looking at a twin pack of Men's Degree deodorant. I do use deodorant,
that
but
was
this
sort of close.
Yeah,
you haven't used that deodorant?
I still have deodorant in the bathroom I use.
Mm-hmm. That's what
I think we're seeing behind the scenes of
Mallory has met me. She can confirm I smell good.
I don't know. Was Mallory like walking up and going?
No, probably, yeah. I was gonna say I definitely sounded like.
Did you do that? Did you go?
No, I didn't.
No,
I can say the time that I have met Maddie, he did not smell. So
yeah,
there we go.
We were in the vicinity. I definitely didn't make her sound uncreepy there. I have a white Mets hat. I have a bill that I have to pay. And lastly is a Spider-Man plushie that my dog got this morning. So the pile grows. And there's... Oh, I'm sorry. There's a humidifier. This is all sitting on my Xbox. So
poor Xbox.
Yeah. Just want to let you guys know how much I use it. Next question. I don't know if you played this one, Mallory. Vampire was a smashing game. What if they made a werewolf game? What would you like it to be mechanically? Wolf Fear? ? I like the name. Have you played Vampire?
I have not.
Oh, you haven't? Oh man,
I have
such
not.
A good game.
Yeah, you'd like it. Up your alley in a sense.
Thanks.
Honestly, I would like it if they started doing like an ear series, right? And just like changing who you are. That would be awesome. And just mechanically, I guess I'd hope it'd be different with the gameplay, but the conversations, I would not want them to change at all. Like that is one thing for sure. Like they nailed it. They nailed the conversations. I would hope they keep that, make the combat, I guess, better. A lot of people really didn't like the combat in Vampire. I liked it. I thought it was good, serviceable, whatever. It did what it had to do, and it had interesting abilities and mechanics. So personally, I think they should just leave it as is for the most part and make you a werewolf. Karak, as someone who's played Vampire, do you agree or disagree with what I am saying?
No, I'm playing the Switch version for review, and I would say that now that I'm replaying it, it is one of the top like games in the last couple of years for me. Okay. It is narratively, it's amazing, and I don't really see much I would want to switch. The werewolf stuff, you're right. I didn't have a problem with the combat either. Well, you and I agree on almost everything about that game. So, I mean, I don't really have much to add. Dodge, maybe, yeah. But, I mean, I would like to be able to, have a social system set up for when you turn into the werewolf and people see you. Maybe there's something there. That's about it. I would agree with you on all of that stuff. I would like... in fact, I don't know if I would want them to do a werewolf game. Do a Vampire 2 and let somebody else... Because not Focus, the other company, they're doing a werewolf game, Paradox. And it's the sequel to... So Vampire and Vampire 2, Vampire the Masquerade 1 and 2 are in the same D&D world as Werewolf. And Paradox just announced a sister title to Vampire.
I didn't know that.
Vampire Masquerade, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that'll be shown at... I think it was shown at PDX Portland last week, if I remember right. I haven't checked to see what people said about it, but I like those kind of games. Are you not a vampire? Is the reason why you didn't play Vampire is just you were busy, Mallory, or is that not? Is that too dark?
No, I actually enjoy dark games quite a bit.
Gotcha.
But no, mostly time.
Mostly. Yeah.
I feel like once you start working in games, the amount of games you start playing decreases over time, which is sad. It really shouldn't be that way, but it's the truth for me at least, and for a lot of other people that I know.
Because you
so when I get excited about the same titles, not the same titles, but games that I know that I'm going to enjoy, and it's harder for me to take a chance on a new game and spend a lot of time doing that.
Makes total sense.
No, I get it. Yeah, because when I first started doing YouTube full time, I told people in 2015, I played Fallout for videos. I played Fallout occasionally on my free time, but that was really it. I played Rocket League here and there. I played The Witcher. I played Batman. That was really it. Like I didn't, and Mad Max, but like that was really it. Like that's a really small group of titles, and over time I've kind of like scheduled it where I spend days at a time away from games, but I get that completely. Ben Jam. This is 2 questions for me since I wasn't here last week. Hypothetical situation. Oh boy. I haven't read this one, so this should be interesting. You slip into a coma for a year and recover with no problems. Oh my. That would be miraculous in its own right. The first thing you do after you wake up is check your phone for video game news. Holy that's morbid.
Oh, I do remember answering this one.
What video game announcements, video game, and he puts in parentheses an S, announcement, and or release surprises you most? You cannot say Fallout 3 or KOTOR Remastered.
Or KOTOR Remastered.
Second question for both, and Mallory, of course. We can all answer the first one. Would you rather never have to sleep again or never have to shower or use the bathroom again? Oh, that's going to be a whole fucking... that's going to be a whole podcast in its own right. If I woke up from a coma, I definitely wouldn't be checking for game news. I'd be like, what the fuck happened?
You can tell what matters to your Discord.
Yeah. Like, hey.
Don't check on your health, Maddie. We need to know what game news you're interested in.
What an announcement would surprise me? What could I imagine surprising me? I'll say Platinum Games announces a sequel to Mutants in Manhattan, and it's actually really good. That's what I'd wake up to and be like, oh, fuck. I'll go with that one. Because they sucked at the first one. Mallory, if you slipped into a coma and you had to check video game news when you first awoke, what...
It would be Fallout 5, and then it wouldn't be made by Bethesda any longer.
Whoa!
It would be made by Obsidian, and it would be great, and I would cry.
Wow.
That will never happen.
And you'd release a video, and I would be like, Maddie, I don't freak out about shit like this Fallout 5. That's awesome.
Yes,
that's awesome.
Yes. That would be kind of cool.
Second question for all of us. Would you rather have to never sleep again or never have to use the shower or use the bathroom again? Now, Mallory, this would tank... Like I said, I was reminiscing on our show because it was actually one of my favorite episodes. This impacts your Yelp poop emoji business idea you had from a while ago.
You remember?
Yeah, of course. That was a really, really good idea because I remember you telling me that. I was like, that would actually be perfect. And I think you told me that it turns out it exists.
Yeah, but it does exist, but it's not great.
Okay.
So, Jeremy, a few years back, I presented the idea of, wouldn't it be nice to know if you were visiting, a city, say for a convention, right? And of course, you want to like find the greatest places to have a meal, right? But wouldn't it be great to understand where the greatest bathrooms are?
Oh, I see.
Or if you're going to walk into a bathroom that was just like shit, and you're like, I'm going to avoid this, right? I'm not going to go to this bathroom at Taco Bell, on Mission over here in San Francisco because it's just going to be sketch. Like, I don't want to go to that bathroom. So it'd be like a rating system for bathrooms. It would be great.
It's such a good idea. I don't know how
it is actually a good idea.
Well, like there's been a lot of like fancy restaurants I've been to and their bathrooms are like super amazing. And I'm actually more amazed with the bathrooms than the food. Like the food I probably forgot about, but the bathroom I'm like, "Oh my god, this is amazing.
I want to live here." This is amazing.
So, it's stupid for sure, but it would be funny.
I wouldn't say that. I think you have something there. So I'm guessing your answer would be that you'd want to never have to sleep again because if you never had to use the bathroom, then you wouldn't be able to rate these bathrooms and create this app. There would be no inspiration there.
But then I would be up all the time. Like, do you want to be up 24/7 for the rest of your life?
Sometimes. I definitely run out of time. I'm kidding.
It's fair. But I don't know. Part of me like says that like maybe I would sleep and I'd give up the other two.
I'm surprised
because then that would leave more time during the day.
I think a shower is the one thing that has to stay. Because that's like your time, that's solitude, like no one can interrupt you, no one can bug you. That has to stay. Never using the bathroom again is what I'd probably pick. Because we've all had that moment where you're just like out, about, life is great, and then your stomach flips. And you're just like, fuck me.
And it makes that sound where it's like...
Yeah, and you're like...
uh-oh.
and like you just you know a little sweat on the brow. You're like, I have to find a bathroom, and yeah, I would if I could avoid that feeling for the rest of my life. That would be amazing. Like I can't believe the human body consists of a function. I was thinking of this the other day, and I swear I don't do drugs, but I was thinking of this the other day where I was like, why does the human body have this one function where I'm just like, I have to go, I guess, relieve myself, and I'm like, oh my God, I feel awful. Like it's this scary feeling given your situation where you're like, I have to go, and there's no bathroom nearby. It's like a fight or flight mixed with a natural need. It's really weird. I don't know.
So if you had the app that I invented, you'd be able to find the closest bathroom and it'd be all good.
I think I wouldn't get
you could filter by the smallest number of poops. I don't know how she'd rate them, and then be like, okay, I can go to this Taco Bell. This one's okay. It's rated 3 out of 5 poops.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that would honestly make people like me, my life would be so much easier because I'd just look at my phone and be like, all right, this is safe, man. Let's go. Like I'm pooping with confidence now. I would love to avoid the anxiety-filled moment of like, you know, you like I remember in school, man, like you'd walk into a stall and you're like, what the fuck happened? Like, I swear to God, I have a friend who worked at a bar and he was like, I swear, like most 30-year-olds try to like shit and miss the toilet. Like that's what he told me because like it was just gross as fuck in there. Oh man. All right. Moving on to our next question, Aunt Jemima. Oops, hold on, I accidentally this damn Discord. Do you think we'll continue to exclusively see first or third person RPGs from Obsidian leaving behind their isometric RPGs? I like this question. I think they're going to move on from that stuff because they're owned by Microsoft. They had like the Epic money. I think they don't, because like a lot of those projects were like crowdfunded. I think.
No, you're absolutely right.
And so I think like those were getting by projects. Like they obviously were passionate about them, so I guess the term passion project would work too. But I think now that the Outer Worlds is clicked and they have Microsoft money, I think they're just gonna keep going with this and just grow beyond what their games have been limited to. That'd be my take.
Yeah, I would agree.
I would agree too.
Wow, guys, you all agree. Okay, no need to discuss further. This one might be for you, Karak. Same, Aunt Jemima. I'm getting mediocre performance of the Outer Worlds on PC. Is there certain settings that have been bogging me down? I have a 2060 Super Ryzen 2700X, and I'm getting very consistent drops below 60 FPS on 1080p and very high settings. Also, I'm loving it, by the way. Well, that's good to hear. Actually, you know what? I did read some people were having issues on Reddit with PC performance. I don't know what kind of monitor you have, but you can only play it around like 1080p, apparently. Like going above that's really what hurts the game at the moment. And certain aspect ratios, like I think you can't play on like a 21:9 monitor or something like that. So check those. But yeah, that was a complaint. You're not alone on that. I don't know, Karak, if you've heard anything else.
No, it's usually shadows and ambient occlusion. And ambient occlusion in the game isn't really great. Okay. So I would say adjust those first. Okay. Shadows are always just terrible. They're a performance sucker.
Yeah, I remember Dishonored 2 had that issue.
Yeah, very much so. So I gotta, Maddie, you were talking about like gross stories. Let me tell you one.
Oh my!
Did you?
Wow.
You don't get a chance to listen.
You just have to get off your chest, I guess.
You don't. Yeah, you don't get a chance to listen to the anchor, the behind the scenes as a reviewer. But I decided to go to GDC, and a PR person at a company was very nice and was like, "Do you want to see Lego Jurassic Park?" And I'm like, "Yeah," because I'm a Lego fan. I'm like, "Fuck yeah, man! I'll go see that." Well, I have an issue, and I have since I was 18, where when I work out really hard, only my right armpit sweats. And I have no fucking clue why.
That's really
It's ridiculous.
Weird.
It's ridiculous.
So
and it doesn't stink, it just sweats. It's okay. No, it's just the right armpit. And you'll get a little sweaty, but if I'm working out, well, it was hot. It was really hot. And GDC, if anybody knows PAX, they're cookers. They can be horrendous heat-wise. So this is like the fourth game we see, and this lovely, incredibly nice lady is like, "Hey, Karak, she knows me. We're talking. She's like, go on in." And I'm with my friend Vanzelwow and Cadiz from the Discord, and we go and we sit down, and I realize it. And I'm wearing nice clothes, I'm wearing like a business shirt and stuff like that. And I realize it, and I'm like, starting to get wet. So while it's going, I decide I'm going to turn this way. I'm like, you guys sit over here if I do start smelling, which would be rude. So I'm like, you guys sit on this side, and I'll sit on this side. Because it's near the air conditioner and it's hot. They didn't pull the blinds and it's getting warmer. It's on my back. And it's like a 45-minute discussion where the developer's like, we decided to build Legos. And I'm like, I don't fucking care. Hurry up. So I start doing this. Right? But here's the problem. Blank girl, very nice person, is right behind me, but she's catty corner. So it looks like I'm masturbating to Lego Jurassic Park from the back. Because I'm doing this. And I'm doing this, and I'm like, fuck, man, what the fuck? And then all of a sudden I go, oh, shit, what do I do? And I look back, and I almost said her name. I look back, and she's looking at me like, for just a brief second, she was all, we need to call the cops. And then I see her look, and she goes, and she pointed at her armpit, and she had a sweat mark, and she's like, and I was like, yeah. Thank God. Thank God. Because that could have been the worst disaster of my life. It looked... Oh, dude, it looked so bad. I didn't realize. I was just like, what the fuck, man? And I was talking about this in the review because in the behind the scenes as a reviewer, because when you go to these events, they're horrendous. Well, if you go to E3 or PAX, and Mallory's gone, like you go to these events and it's a pressure cooker and it doesn't take long. And not to be rude, but like PAX after the second day,
it reeks.
It smells
no, you're
like
not
the
being
most
rude.
horrible, dirty gym in the world. Yeah. And I'm such a clean freak. So I'm like in their bathroom, which she could have raided. I'm in the GDC bathroom, like trying to spritz this armpit and dry it out. Oh, it was horrendous. But it was a fun time at the same time. I'm just glad I didn't get the calls, cops called on me. You and I would have never met. You would have just heard this weird story about a dude caught masturbating to Lego Jurassic Park.
Yeah, and like I just would have had to steer clear from you.
Yeah, you would have just been like, who's this weirdo?
Yeah.
And then you would have never met me.
Give you a little
probably
dunk
would have
on
been
Twitter,
better for you.
But boost myself up a bit.
Right. You're the weirdo.
It all worked out well in the end.
It did. Right? It did. I got to review the game. That's what matters.
Oh man. Let's see here. A lot of Outer Worlds questions. Do I intend on making any unique weapon and armor guides for the game? I saw Camelworks put out one, and I was excited for that kind of content from you. That's from Undead R. Jamie. Yeah, I've thought about it. I'm going to do at least the science weapons. I have a whole video planned to just put all of that together and timestamp it and put it out for you guys. I think the rest of the uniques in that game, like, they're not hidden. You just beat quests and like find them on the ground in like locations. They're not like tucked away, or there's no like, as far as I know, there's no New Vegas style pick like the Wild Wastelander perk. And there is.
I have two that I did not get from quests. I thought
I
exactly
found
like
ones.
you said. Okay. Because
Like,
I found ones that are not on the quests that pop up, and like, I don't know how many there are.
Like I found one called Hammer of Olympus, and it was like splitting a. Oops, I hit the mic. Sorry, I was like splitting a rock, and it was just laying there.
Didn't get that one.
And it was on top of a hill. Yeah, it was a really cool set piece.
Oh,
nothing
cool.
happened. It was just like there though. I was like, oh wow, this is cool.
Interesting.
Little lore.
That's cool.
Holiday Shark asked about DLC for the Outer Worlds and due to how well received it's been. So we did answer your question, but I just wanted to make sure it was acknowledged. Mallory sadly can't answer this, but Ghost Fixter asks, what's our favorite planets in the Outer Worlds so far? Yeah, I don't really know.
Starts with a B.
Byzantium?
Oh, I guess we can say yeah, because those are on the map, right? Yeah, Byzantium.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite too. It's because of how the game's built, and then you go there, and it's just, we won't say what, but it's very different.
Yeah, it's very different from the rest.
Nice. All right.
How many planets have you got to, Mallory? You're in the first planet, right?
Yeah.
In Outer Worlds?
Yeah, I have not left. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm literally 2 hours in, so I'm just
how many NPCs do you have? Do you just have one?
I just have one.
Sorry, party members is what Pavardi. Is it Pavardi?
I love
Pavardi. Yeah, that's all I have right now. Yeah.
So this is gonna sound creepy, but I don't find any video game character ever attractive. They're uncanny valley for me. But there's something about her and the girl from DMC5 who sells you weapons out of the Scooby-Doo van.
Gee, I wonder why the DMC5.
Well, that one makes more
wonder.
sense. But something about her face, her structure on her face, and I think that's when I first noticed how much better they were. Was just her look compared to a lot of other NPCs party members.
No, she looks awesome. I love her as a companion.
And I love
already.
her. Yeah, her the way she is, just her entire demeanor is very cool. It's
very
and she seems very honest too, and pretty genuine. So I don't know.
They nailed the genuine front. This isn't like a spoiler, but like I was just talking to someone who was in the game who's like clearly having a bad day, and she like chimed in. She's like, "Do you want some tea, mister? I could go make some." I'm like, "That's amazing!" Like
when she tries to leave, and you have to talk her into not leaving, because I kill people sometimes, and she'll be like, "How dare!" And I thought that was handled well.
They'll do that. I thought I read before the game launched that they weren't going to do that, so they'll leave.
They absolutely will pop up. Reg on my channel did it, and so I went this morning and I went and looked and got to a point and tried to get her to leave, and she actually will be like, "I'm out," and then you have a vocal choice to keep her.
Wow!
You basically have to talk her into staying, and
that's awesome.
I thought that was very cool. I don't know if they all do it because I never had that with anybody else, but with her in particular, she also seems like that kind of character though. Mm-hmm. She's very caring compared to maybe others. Yeah, it fits her. Very well done character.
I found two companions really disappointing. I won't name names, but I found two of them just like one just had like a really, really boring quest that just like I didn't feel it developed him at all. And then one doesn't even have a companion quest. It's just like a funny addition. It's designed to be, and I don't want to say what, but it's just they let me down, but I mean the game's not perfect, but it's really, really good. Those are all our patron questions. However, that was a really funny episode. We needed that. I needed that especially. That was really good. All right.
Did I break things up a little bit for you guys?
What do you mean?
Nothing. Like you guys have different guests, right? And then sometimes you two
do the
podcast together.
Yeah, no, you absolutely you fit in well, and you brought a special flavor to the show, and we appreciate that. We appreciate you, and as I always tell you, you are more than welcome to come back on. I know it seems like you're busy on Fridays, so I have to catch you.
Well, I took off work today. So.
Was it for the Outer Worlds or was it for us?
Was it for
no,
us?
I actually meant to do it for the podcast, and it just so happens that both these things like actually happen at the same time. So it worked out.
Good lie. Good
I
save.
swear. Well, I took off yesterday too, so I took off 2 days. But
and you like Sims, so you're welcome anytime.
I love
talk Sims, and we can just Maddie doesn't need to show up.
That's fine. I've been playing
Sims.
A lot of Sims 4, so
awesome. So have I. See, Maddie. Come on, Maddie. It's time for some Sims. Maddie needs to break out a video. Do a video on the Sims, bro.
I'm already conceding and playing Animal Crossing for my girlfriend, so I really...
gotcha.
I feel like you could have some super funny commentary with the Sims.
Yeah. Like
I feel like it could be really good for you.
Building swimming pools, deleting the ladders, starving people. Well, I get pretty dark, but there is some funny stuff you can do. Oh, do you? Okay.
Yes.
See, I knew there was a dark side. We just had to talk to her a little longer. The Sims is amazing.
I played the Sims on a Game Boy Advance.
Yep, I had that version.
I just remember like walking around as a guy and like I didn't know what to do, and then he started like holding this crotch area and like jumping around because he had to pee, and I'm like, how do I have to pee, and how do I pee? And I was like too young to figure it out.
Too young to figure it out.
I mean, it was like a borrowed game for my friend, but I haven't experienced real Sims, we'll call it.
Yeah.
I feel like you would like The Sims more than you would like Animal Crossing. Like, Animal Crossing is like the most wholesome game. It's very wholesome. Whereas The Sims, like, you could go super dark, you could go any which way direction, and it makes the game that much more fun. So I feel like if you had to play two, you would really like The Sims more.
And The Sims for you, Maddie, is so sandbox. Like I sing in mine. I got a guitar, and I was like not making much money, so I went to a bar, waited till it was nighttime when they would go in to listen to music in the bar, and then blocked their door and played music in front of the bar. And so no one could get in the bar, and they just came to me. And I made like $10,000 in a day. Like you can do crazy shit if you pay attention. That's very sandboxy.
I thought it was like a city builder. Like I don't know shit about Sims, so.
No, Sim City is a sim. Yes, there's Sim City, but Sims is a person simulator, and you can turn up their desires and traits, so they'll go pee on their own. You can either control them completely or adjust how much you want free will. Free will, that's what it's called.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you might like it. I mean, it's crazy, dude. It can be so funny. I mean, some of the dumbest shit. You can turn into vampires. It's so in depth. You can play it for hours and hours, and then suddenly one of my friends on Discord will be like, "Did you know you can go to a secret world?" And I'll be like, "What?" Like, I had no clue that was there. So it might be something you might want to check out, even if it's just for a funny video, or just to tell me I'm wrong in the next podcast.
That'd be fun.
Just do it.
Just do it.
See, the thing is that I worked out, we'll call it a deal with my girlfriend. You know, originally I forgot what I had to make her play, and I would play Animal Crossing. Because I remember I picked up Animal Crossing on my 3DS. I think it's, what was it called? New Leaf. And I played it, and it just, like, I don't know if I have, like, legitimate reasoning. I think it was, like, the voices, like that.
I don't like that.
They're so cute.
It's like nails on a chalkboard to me. I'm just like, stop.
I wonder if he would like the Simlish then, because you may not, because they talk.
Yeah.
I mean, even Katy Perry sings songs in Simlish, and they're in the game. And
Well,
so
the
you
thing
can,
is,
it's a weird language.
in Animal Crossing, it's not like a quick, like, and like you just, the text keeps going. It's like the whole time the text is moving, like they'll write a whole paragraph. So it's like, and just keep going. I'm just like, stop, enough. I get it. You're talking.
Yeah, that can be bothersome.
And so that like was a bad first impression. I think maybe I was a little close-minded. But the agreement was, I was like, look, you have to play the Outer Worlds. She's like, okay, but you got to play Animal Crossing. I was like, okay, then we're making a deal. I said, I'll play that game if you play the Outer Worlds. And I mean, because she was already saying how cool it looks, so I was like, all right, she's probably gonna play it anyway, and I know I will not be able to skim by without playing it. So that was the deal that was put into place via text message. So we shall see. And then from there, I'll go to The Sims if it's really bad, and trust your guys' word. And if I don't
Those
like
are two
that,
different
then
games,
I'll
but it's a
argue.
good deal. That's a very good deal, though.
I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah.
We get along well. All right. Any final comments, questions, concerns? I don't know. That's something I'd say to the audience. Any final comments from you folks?
Thanks for having
to
me.
Mallory for coming. Yeah.
Man,
Yeah,
we
it was
It's
appreciate
been
it.
years. I don't got a fancy setup or anything, you know. I'm not cool like you guys, but I love talking about games
Once
sometimes, so
again.
it's good to be here.
It's the best
I have a
here, so.
beat up bed and a green screen. It is not the
I think
most
you have the
high-tech
cleanest setup. In
Mine
fact, you're
or hers?
No, Mallory, because she's got like
Yeah,
plants,
for sure.
so there's just
And it's
recycled
all
oxygen.
white. Look at how it's all well lit. It's like an angel, and I'm sitting under a Mortal Kombat character or Injustice. You're sitting in your room, like we both look like the typical male nerds, and she's like white angel.
I look like a fucking egomaniac. I got my name on a fucking
You guys are
white
funny.
outside.
You guys are funny.
You do. I didn't even think about that. It's like, did you forget your fucking name, Maddie? It's right there. That's amazing.
Well, no, because what happened was, if you just remove this, it was completely empty. And my girlfriend's just like, when I was streaming one time, she texted me. She's like, I'm going to fill that up for you with a really cool gift. And so she went on Etsy and like got it customized, and I really like it. Yeah,
No excuse.
Yeah, that's right.
You
I'm pulling
got
out the
your
girlfriend
own
card.
name.
I'm just like, yeah, take that, Karak.
You got your own name on a and it's a billboard. It's a lit billboard,
just
man.
in case anyone forgets, you know,
The
because
ego on Maddie.
it's got a little controller there.
This is what I have to deal with, people behind the scenes.
Yeah.
This is the way he is all the time.
After this, I'm gonna crush open a beer and tell Karak to fuck himself, and you guys will never know anything else.
I'll just not come to the podcast anymore. People are like, oh, that's weird.
All right, we'll wrap it up there. We hope you enjoyed episode 225.
Yes, indeed.
If you got this deep, hashtag. We'll make this hashtag about Mallory. We have to make this about Mallory because she's a returning.
It could be
guest.
about
Did you already
poop.
do poop emoji?
Yeah.
Did you already do something about poop
No,
emojis?
that's a good one.
for her?
No, that's a really good one. We didn't do hashtags back then, I don't think.
Oh, gotcha.
Or maybe we did on and off. Or I think we did a question and then people would tweet us, something like that. If you got this deep, yeah, we'll do. Would poop Yelp or just the poop emoji? I think we'll make it easy for them. Just the poop emoji.
Just a poop emoji.
Yeah. All right, so
Perfect.
Mallory, if you get a bunch of poop emojis in your
You'll
in your
know
mentions
why.
on Twitter, you'll know why. That would be at
All right,
Mallory
sounds good.
Lore, at GT7Status, and at Jeremy Penter. Tag us. Let us know you got this far. Give us feedback for the show. Anything we can do to improve. Once again, we hope you enjoy, and we will catch you guys next week.
Peace out.
Later.
Bye.